CBSUA-Sipocot College of Education has been producing globally competitive teachers since 1993 and is always true to its commitment to producing competent graduates, a home of experts in education. It offers one of the best education programs in the region through empowering students to become teachers, principals, superintendents, and even beyond the job they have imagined. The College of Education is also active in extending quality services to the community through research-based extension services that caters training to the stakeholders, thereby ensuring lifelong learning and innovation. Through the leadership of the present Dean, Dr. Ana Maria A. Bonito, together with the chairpersons of the three programs, Professor Mia N. Iborda for BS Ed, Mrs. Mercy M. Almonte for BE Ed, and Professor Evangelina C. Pamada for BCLED. The College of Education does not only offer education, but it also gives legacy. The areas of specialization offered by the BSED program are Science, English, Filipino, and Mathematics. The program culminates to an intensive practice teaching in different secondary schools in Libmanan and Sipocot, where student teachers receive active mentoring from highly experienced professional teachers. Currently, the CBSUA comes up with its own site called Virtual Learning Portal, where teachers migrate modules, lessons, and activities. In other words, VLP is the main tool for teaching learning process this pandemic for online education. This virtual learning portal is a classroom-like software platform where users can learn, interact, communicate, view, and discuss their content. This is one of the latest trends in CBSUA educational system that is transforming the learning environment. Another developed instructional material that is being utilized by 100% of the faculty in the program is the use of module for both online and modular educational scheme. The module composition was designed by the Committee on Instructional Materials and went a thorough evaluation by the faculty of different disciplines. Research journals of the college is an avenue for students' publication and dissemination of research findings. In the same manner, faculty development has been defined as that wide range of activities that institutions apply to support faculty members' roles. These included programs designed to improve the performance of faculty members in education, research, and administration, as well as augmenting organizational capacities in culture. In response to this, the Dean of the College, Dr. Ana Maria A. Bonito, attended the 8th Evaluation Meeting Pre-Service Student Teachers Exchange in the Southeast Asia last November 2018 at Tibulsum Kram Rahabat University. This aims to intensify partnership and collaboration among the partner universities. This evaluation meeting is an opportunity to assess the performance, learning, and experiences of the exchange students. Students also engage on international endeavor in response to one of the goals, which is to intensify internationalization. Moreover, it serves as a leeway of adapting new and effective strategies from other universities. Some students experience their practice teaching outside the country. One of those is Mr. James Carlo P. Frias, a BSED Science student who became a participant of Simeo Student Internship Program in Indonesia. The university accommodates as well exchange students from Indonesia, namely Miljana Ayu Ristanti from Kunjuruhan Malang University and Nurul Mutia from the University of Muhammadiyah Sumatera Utara, who stayed for months and flexibly adapt to the culture and teaching pedagogy of the college. At present, the college has 2 participants for International Credit Transfer Program launching at Vives University, Belgium. These students are Mr. Archie A. Perpetua, a BSED Science student, and Ms. Mary Franz Malto, a BSED English. They are enrolled in the Global Sustainability and Engagement Program. The College of Education has its flagship program called SPARK. This extension program aims to address the interfacing of the 7 university extension objectives resulting for sustainable human living. The flagship programs are created to create a clear path for the Extension Service Unit programs and activities. Project Share, commonly known as Sharing Holistic Agri-Based Research Outcomes Extension, aims to empower communities by providing extension services such as capability enhancement and techno-transfer. More so, since this pillar covers the research-based extensions, the COE-BSED, through its faculty, Professor R.C.D. Biliera, conducted research on the cultivation of tropical mushroom entitled Optimal Condition and Mycelial Growth Performance of Schizophyllum communae in various indigenous media, and morphometrics identification and species listing of edible mushroom in Bicol Natural Park. The research findings of these undertakings were implemented through the conduct of extension activities such as tropical mushroom cultivation for Muslim community of CBSUA-Sipocot, Camarines Sur, cultivation and production of kabuteng saging and kabuteng pamaypay and various agricultural waste, in cultivation of tropical species of edible mushroom in the Philippines, which aimed to introduce significance of mushroom production and its health benefits, transform agricultural waste into highly acceptable materials used in propagating mushrooms, and provide livelihood projects and opportunities for the people in the locality. Mrs. Bernadette Parado, a resident of Barangay CBSUA-Sipocot, Camarines Sur, during the monitoring and interview to the impact of the extension services rendered by the college.
Ako po si Bernadette Parado, mula sa CBSUA-Sipocot, Camarines Sur. So far naman, madami kaming natutunan during the training na nai-apply na naman namin nung mayroon na kaming mga fruiting bags na yung nagsisimula. Naging maganda talaga yung outcome ng mushroom. Every time po na nagpipick kami nung mushroom, talagang inaano po namin sa logbook. Mayroon po talaga kaming logbook na nakalagay yung date kung kailan siya in-harvest, ilang kilo yung na-harvest, sino yung bumili. 100 na fruiting bags, siguro na ano lang namin yun within 2 months. Yung naipon po namin is 4,000 pesos. Mahigit pa, bukod pa po doon sa mga naiulam namin. Laki po ang pasasalamat namin na dinala nyo po dito sa Tibli ang mushroom production. Maraming salamat sa CBSUA-Sipocot na dinala nila sa amin yung pagpapatuko ng mushroom na kumbaga malaking tulong at magiging mas malaking tulong pa sa family income namin, and siguro pati din sa parang health. Maraming salamat po sa ibinigay na livelihood ng CBSUA.
Project Promote, also known as practicing relevant outcomes-based mechanisms, operations, and training enhancement, aims to provide sustainable livelihood trainings, health education, and environmental management. The COE-Extension services also respond to various requests such as the call of the Department of Trade and Industry, Go Negosyo Center to provide resource speakers to its trainings. Project Alive, or adequate competencies for lifelong learning with innovative pedagogy and values-oriented extension, aims to strengthen and enhance learners' capability to learn new knowledge, essentials for education. The beneficiaries of this project are the Alternative Learning System learners of the 1st District of Sipocot. From year 2017, the College of Education has implemented and spearheaded activities to suffice the needs of us. This is evident on the active partnership of the Bureau of Alternative Learning System based in Sipocot area. The BSED and BED, through its literacy and numeracy initiatives, conducted various trainings such as seminars on values formation, literacy month, and seminar workshop on basic technical writing. Ms. Marisol Colores, an ALS learner and a beneficiary of the Bungbunong program of the College of Education, BSED.
Ako po si Marisol S. Colores. I'm 32 years old. Na-refresh po kami ulit sa mga subject, sa mga tinuro po nila sa amin. Kaya po, marami po kami nagtutunan during that time po. Dahil po sa extension service, is marami po kaming natutunan. That time po, ma'am, is marami pong nakapasa sa amin. Maraming salamat po sa mga extension service po na na tumulong po sa amin para po makapasa po kami kasi po maraming napakalaking tulong po na nangyari po na naturo ang mga extension service po at nakapasa po ako sa at ngayon po ay college na rin po ako at makaka-graduate na rin po ako.
Establishing and maintaining rapport with stakeholders is a foundation to deliver effective and efficient monitoring of extension activities. Hence, the College of Education and Extension Services Unit partakes in various MOA signing with institution, local government unit, and private sectors. These widens and broadens the reach of the services being delivered by the program. The college develops various information, education, and communication materials to further supplement the needs of its stakeholders and beneficiaries in the printed materials. The FB page posts updates and announcements of its activities, with 6,597 people reached and 1,443 post engagements. The CBSUA-Sipocot proudly introduces the College of Education as one of the well-known and prominent department in the campus. This program is tasked to seek, discover, interpret, and communicate knowledge, and to put knowledge into work. To do this effectively, we as a department is developing the faculty into competent and innovative teaching force. In order to be beneficial to the university and to the communities, the BSED faculty has ventured in innovative researches in order to support the university in developing viable and responsive knowledge and technologies. One of the intellectual contributions of the faculty is research, which includes published researches, completed researches, and research presentations which are recognized all over the country. Professor Arce D. Villiere, a faculty of the College of Education, represented the institution to the CMEO Sea Teacher Pivot lecture series, which was aired on August 20, 2020, with his research findings on tropical mushroom cultivation. The faculty is also actively participating in gender and development activities, wellness Olympics, earthquake drills, team buildings, and extension activities. The BSED faculty has received multi-awards in recognition for their exemplary performance in the name of Professor Imelda Emma Blau, who bagged the Luguro Award for exemplifying her excellence as mentor of future teachers. Professor Benilda B. Metron was awarded as the Guru Award for outstanding achievement in teaching and learning process. BSED faculty raised the competence and esteem of the students and the stakeholders, making them dignified, productive, proactive, fulfilled, and empowered citizens of communities. The College of Education conducted LET review to help alumni in preparation for the licensure examination for teachers. The review activity commenced in May until September of the year. The review of the BSED graduates focused on the general education, professional education, and field of specialization. Final coaching was conducted to ensure that all the needed learning areas is delivered and acquired. Thus, the aim of helping them to be familiarized with the process of examination should be attained. Then pre-board examination is done as the last step to assess the readiness of the LET takers and if all the needed inputs are attained. The September 2019 LET result shows that BSED got 56.44% passing percentage, which was above the national passing percentage of 39.69%. Data revealed that the average performance of the BSE graduates from March 2017 to September 2018 is 45.54%, while the average national passing percentage for the said year is 35.90%. This further shows that the performance of BSE graduates for the 3 consecutive years is 26.85%, higher than the average national passing percentage. These data only indicates that the BSE graduate of CBSUA-Sipocot performed well and led for the past 3 years. The BSED graduate who majored in Filipino got first to third place in the registry of qualified applicants. College of Education graduates are gathered for a mass and program was prepared by the College of Education. The simple effort adds courage, hope, and support to the test takers as they conquer the battle. Tribute to the Lead Passer is an annual event of the College of Education to give honor to the graduates who successfully attained eligibility to teach and enter the professional work of teaching. The university shows appreciation to the achievement of their alumni by giving monetary incentives to those lead takers for making on the top 10 among the lead examiners in the College of Education. Mr. Jericho F. Balmes, the new president of Teachers Organizations of the Philippines, is an alumnus of CBSUA-Sipocot, a graduated Bachelor of Secondary Education major in Biological Science. The BSED alumni maximized their potential up to the highest level wherein they were able to compete not just at the national level but in the international endeavor as well. CBSUA is a future-ready institution and envisions to be a center of excellence in education, who promises to cater to the demands and challenges of the changing world towards achieving milestones of the 4.0 eras. CBSUA-Sipocot College of Education has been producing globally competitive teachers since 1993 and is always true to its commitment to producing competent graduates, a home of experts in education. It offers one of the best education programs in the region through empowering students to become teachers, principals, superintendents, and even beyond the job they have imagined. The College of Education is also active in extending quality services to the community through research-based extension services that caters training to the stakeholders, thereby ensuring lifelong learning and innovation. Through the leadership of the present Dean, Dr. Ana Maria A. Bonito, together with the chairpersons of the three programs, Professor Mia N. Iborda for BSEd, Mrs. Mercy M. Almonte for BEd, and Professor Evangelina C. Pamada for BCLED. The College of Education does not only offer education, but it also gives legacy. The areas of specialization offered by the BSEd program are Science, English, Filipino, and Mathematics. The program culminates to an intensive practice teaching in different secondary schools in Libmanan and Sipocot, where student teachers receive active mentoring from highly experienced professional teachers. Currently, the CBSUA comes up with its own site called Virtual Learning Portal, where teachers migrate modules, lessons, and activities. In other words, VLP is the main tool for teaching learning process this pandemic for online education. This virtual learning portal is a classroom-like software platform where users can learn, interact, communicate, view, and discuss their content. This is one of the latest trends in CBSUA educational system that is transforming the learning environment. Another developed instructional material that is being utilized by 100% of the faculty in the program is the use of Mojo for both online and modular educational scheme. The module composition was designed by the Committee on Instructional Materials and went a thorough evaluation by the faculty of different disciplines. Research journals of the college is an avenue for students' publication and dissemination of research findings. In the same manner, faculty development has been defined as that wide range of activities that institutions apply to support faculty members' roles. These included programs designed to improve the performance of faculty members in education, research, and administration, as well as augmenting organizational capacities in culture. In response to this, the Dean of the College, Dr. Ana Maria A. Benito, attended the 8th Evaluation Meeting Pre-Service Student Teachers Exchange in the Southeast Asia last November 2019 at Tibulsong Kram Rahabat University. This aims to intensify partnership and collaboration among the partner universities. This evaluation meeting is an opportunity to assess the performance, learning, and experiences of the exchange students. Students also engage on international endeavor in response to one of the goals, which is to intensify internationalization. Moreover, it serves as a leeway of adapting new and effective strategies from other universities. Some students experience their practice teaching outside the country. One of those is Mr. James Carlo P. Frias, a BSed Science student who became a participant of Simeo Student Internship Program in Indonesia. The university accommodates as well exchange students from Indonesia, namely Miljana Ayu Ristanti from Kunjuruhan Malang University and Nurul Mutia from the University of Muhammadiyah Sumatera Utara, who stayed for months and flexibly adapt to the culture and teaching pedagogy of the college. At present, the college has 2 participants per international credit transfer program launching at Bevis University, Belgium. These students are Mr. Archie A. Perpetua, a BSed Science student, and Ms. Mary Franz Malto, a BSed English. They are enrolled in the Global Sustainability and Engagement Program. The College of Education has its flagship program called SPARK. This extension program aims to address the interfacing of the 7 university extension objectives resulting for sustainable human living. The flagship programs are created to create a clear path for the extension service unit programs and activities. Project Share, commonly known as Sharing Holistic Agri-Based Research Outcomes Extension, aims to empower communities by providing extension services such as capability enhancement and techno-transfer. More so, since this pillar covers the research-based extensions, the COE-BSed, through its faculty, Professor R.C.D. Biliere, conducted research on the cultivation of tropical mushroom entitled Optimal Condition and Mycelial Growth Performance of Schizophyllum communae in Various Indigenous Media, and morphometrics identification and species listing of edible mushroom in Bicol Natural Park. The research findings of these undertakings were implemented through the conduct of extension activities such as tropical mushroom cultivation for Muslim community of CBSUA-Sipocot, Camarines Sur, cultivation and production of kabuteng saging and kabuteng pamaypay and various agricultural waste, in cultivation of tropical species of edible mushroom in the Philippines, which aimed to introduce significance of mushroom production and its health benefits, transform agricultural waste into highly acceptable materials used in propagating mushrooms, and provide livelihood projects and opportunities for the people in the locality. Mrs. Bernadette Parado, a resident of Barangay CBSUA-Sipocot, Camarines Sur, during the monitoring and interview to the impact of the extension services rendered by the college.
Ako po si Bernadette Parado, mula sa CBSUA-Sipocot, Camarines. So far naman, madami kaming natutunan during the training na nai-apply na naman namin nung mayroon na kaming mga fruiting bags na pinagsisimula. Naging maganda talaga yung outcome ng mushroom. Every time po na nagpipick kami nung mushroom, talagang inaano po namin sa logbook. Meron po talaga kaming logbook na nakalagay yung date kung kailan siya in-harvest, ilang kilo yung na-harvest, sino yung bumili. 100 na fruiting bags, siguro na ano lang namin yun within 2 months. Yung naipon po namin is 4,000 pesos. Mahigit pa, bukod pa po doon sa mga naiulam namin. Laki po ang pasasalamat namin na dinala nyo po dito sa Tibli ang mushroom production. Maraming salamat sa CBSUA-Sipocot na dinala nila sa amin yung pagpapatuko ng mushroom na kumbaga malaking tulong at magiging mas malaking tulong pa sa family income namin, and siguro pati din sa parang health. Maraming salamat po sa ibinigay na livelihood ng CBSUA.
Project Promote, also known as practicing relevant outcomes-based mechanisms, operations, and training enhancement, aims to provide sustainable livelihood trainings, health education, and environmental management. The COE-Extension services also respond to various requests such as the call of the Department of Trade and Industry, Go Negosyo Center to provide resource speakers to its trainings. Project Alive, or adequate competencies for lifelong learning with innovative pedagogy and values-oriented extension, aims to strengthen and enhance learners' capability to learn new knowledge, essentials for education. The beneficiaries of this project are the alternative learning system learners of the 1st District of Sipocot. From year 2017, the College of Education has implemented and spearheaded activities to suffice the needs of us. This is evident on the active partnership of the Bureau of Alternative Learning System based in Sipocot area. The BSED and BEd, through its literacy and numeracy initiatives, conducted various trainings such as seminars on values formation, Literacy Month, and seminar workshop on basic technical writing. Ms. Marisol Colores, an ALS learner and a beneficiary of the Buong Bunong program of the College of Education, BSED.
Ako po si Marisol S. Colores. I'm 32 years old. Na-refresh po kami ulit sa mga subject, sa mga tinuro po nila sa amin. Kaya po, marami po kami natutunan during that time po. Dahil po sa extension service, is marami po kaming natutunan. That time po, ma'am, is marami pong nakapasa sa amin. Maraming po salamat po sa mga extension service po na tumulong po sa amin para po makapasa po kami, kasi po maraming napakalaking tulong po na nangyari po na naturo ang mga extension service po at nakapasa po ako sa at ngayon po ay college na rin po ako at makaka-graduate na rin po ako.
Establishing and maintaining rapport with stakeholders is a foundation to deliver effective and efficient monitoring of extension activities. Hence, the College of Education and Extension Services Unit partakes in various MOA signing with institution, local government unit, and private sectors. These widens and broadens the reach of the services being delivered by the program. The college develops various information, education, and communication materials to further supplement the needs of its stakeholders and beneficiaries in the printed materials. The FB page posts updates and announcements of its activities, with 6,597 people reached and 1,443 post engagements. The CBSUA-Sipocot proudly introduces the College of Education as one of the well-known and prominent department in the campus. This program is tasked to seek, discover, interpret, and communicate knowledge, and to put knowledge into work. To do this effectively, we as a department is developing the faculty into competent and innovative teaching force. In order to be beneficial to the university and to the communities, the BSED faculty has ventured in innovative researches in order to support the university in developing viable and responsive knowledge and technologies. One of the intellectual contributions of the faculty is research, which includes published researches, completed researches, and research presentations which are recognized all over the country. Professor Arce D. Biliera, a faculty of the College of Education, represented the institution to the Simeo Sea Teacher Pivot lecture series, which was aired on August 20, 2020, with his research findings on tropical mushroom cultivation. The faculty is also actively participating in gender and development activities, wellness Olympics, earthquake drills, team buildings, and extension activities. The BSED faculty has received multi-awards in recognition for their exemplary performance in the name of Professor Imelda Emma Blau, who bagged the Luguro Award for exemplifying her excellence as mentor of future teachers. Professor Benilda B. Metron was awarded as the Guru Award for Outstanding Achievement in Teaching and Learning Process. BSED faculty raised the competence and esteem of the students and the stakeholders, making them dignified, productive, proactive, fulfilled, and empowered citizens of communities. The College of Education conducted LET review to help alumni in preparation for the licensure examination for teachers. The review activity commenced in May until September of the year. The review of the BSED graduates focused on the general education, professional education, and field of specialization. Final coaching was conducted to ensure that all the needed learning areas is delivered and acquired. Thus, the aim of helping them to be familiarized with the process of examination should be attained. Then pre-board examination is done as the last step to assess the readiness of the LET takers and if all the needed inputs are attained. The September 2019 LET result shows that BSED got 56.44% passing percentage, which was above the national passing percentage of 39.69%. Data revealed that the average performance of the BSc graduates from March 2017 to September 2018 is 45.54%, while the average national passing percentage for the said year is 35.90%. This further shows that the performance of BSc graduates for the 3 consecutive years is 26.85%, higher than the average national passing percentage. These data only indicates that the BSc graduate of CBSUA-Sipocot performed well and LET for the past 3 years. The BSc graduate who majored in Filipino got first to third place in the registry of qualified applicants. College of Education graduates are gathered for a mass and program was prepared by the College of Education. The simple effort adds courage, hope, and support to the test takers as they conquer the battle. Tribute to the LET passer is an annual event of the College of Education to give honor to the graduates who successfully attained eligibility to teach and enter the professional work of teaching. The university shows appreciation for the achievement of their alumni by giving monetary incentives to those LET takers for making on the top 10 among the LET examiners in the College of Education. Mr. Jericho F. Balmes, the new president of Teachers Organizations of the Philippines, is an alumnus of CBSUA-Sipocot, a graduated Bachelor of Secondary Education major in Biological Science. The BSED alumni maximized their potential up to the highest level wherein they were able to compete not just at the national level but in the international endeavor as well. CBSUA is a future-ready institution and envisions to be a center of excellence in education, who promises to cater the demands and challenges of the changing world towards achieving milestones of the 4.0 eras.
Once again, good morning to our participants. Last Saturday was the third session of Duungaw. This was graced by the passionate speaker in the name of Sir Vince Clemens Carcido, who shared his expertise on ICT application for online and distance learning, specifically inputs on Google Meet and email. Today, we are all gathered for another meaningful and exciting day as another Duungaw starts for today. With this, I would like to extend my warm welcome to all of our participants composed of ALS coordinator, ALS teachers, in-service teachers, pre-service teachers, and students from Teacher Certificate Program. Also, I would like to greet our campus administrator, Professor Zeus M. Lusitano, Extension Coordinator, Ma'am Vilma Lusitano, Dean of the College of Education, Dr. Ana Maria A. Bonito, Coordinator of the BSED program, Sir Darrell M. Ocampo, Ma'am Imelda A. Nardo, EPS1, Division ALS Focal Person, Sir Edgar A. Tabagan, EPS2 ALS, Sir Alan Alfilor, District ALS Coordinator, South District, and to our resource speaker for today. Once again, a blessed day to everyone. At this juncture, I think we are all geared for today's webinar, and our participants are all eager to learn today. But before that, allow me first to introduce our speaker. She finished her baccalaureate degree for the course Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English, and her Masters of Art at University of Northeastern Philippines. At present, she is a faculty of the College of Education at Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, Sipocot campus for over 10 years. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Ma'am Apple Jane Tagum. A virtual applause, please.
So the different professions use different genres. However, you will note that there are communication materials that cut across professions. They communicate important information about certain organization, event, or individual. So probably different professions. So this is mentioned, we are not only referring to the teaching profession, but also the different professions. In other words, business correspondence is not only significant to teaching profession, but also to the different professions in this society that involves even police officers, fire officers, secretary, nurse, let's say managers. So it's very important that one must have this business correspondence skill. Some of these communication materials are the memoranda, minutes of meetings, business correspondence, and business proposals. Actually, it should be business letters kasi you know, yung business correspondence, this is the term used for all, including the memoranda, the minutes of meeting, business proposals. Actually, a resume is also included. So there is a typo error here. It should be business letters. Moreover, with the advent of technology, there are new forms of communication materials using social media channels such as Facebook, Twitter, and the LinkedIn. All these communication materials are considered as genres, and they cut across the different professions or disciplines. So this is true because nowadays there are a lot of social media. The most common are the Facebook, Twitter, and somehow there are shared information, different shared information about everything under the sun, especially on Facebook. Sometimes when I browse the Facebook, I chance upon meeting both positive and negative information. Meron din dyan yung mga uses ng verbs, ganyan. Tapos meron din ganito yung sa paggawa ng different communications. But you know what? It's not enough that we only rely information on the social media. Kasi minsan yung iba pong sinishare dyan sa social media, hindi naman lahat totoo. May mga error din, and somehow the sources are not that legit or 100% reliable. Okay. So what is business correspondence? I know that this is not the first time that you have encountered this term, diba? I know especially those pre-service teacher, yung mga abutan pa po ng old curriculum, this business correspondence is included in your different English subjects, di ba? When I was in industrial technology and I handled, there is this particular subject which is called business correspondence and technical writing. So I handled this subject. Talagang yung focus niya is on the business correspondence. But I bet for the education, wala pong ano, kasi yung English ata ng education is writing in the discipline, pero this is one of the lessons of the topics for the subject writing in the discipline. Kasi nag-handle din ako ng subject ngayon, so dinidiscuss ko din po ito noon. And also, some of you know, or most of you, of course, know how to write letter. But knowing how to write letter is not enough, because there are certain things, certain skills that you need to master and to know. So even if you know how to write a letter, there are a lot of things to be considered in writing a letter, especially a business letter. So later on, i-discuss din po natin yan dito. So what is business correspondence? And businesses, written communication is an important medium for passing information. This form of written communication used for business purposes is termed as business correspondence. The correspondence in business communication can happen within the organization, between different organizations, or different client and organizations. So from this paragraph, the business correspondence is, of course, a written communication that is considered as medium for passing information. And this business correspondence can happen everywhere, especially in the organization. For example, sa atin, CBSUA, that is considered as one organization. Then between different organizations. So if there is a passing of information from CBSUA to another university to another agency, so yan na po mag-occur ang between different organizations. Then between client and organization. So an example of this is if you are writing something, for example, a letter of complaint to a certain organization, so that occurred between client and organization. So in other words, almost everything, business correspondence, or in almost every aspect in the institution, in the organization, business correspondence is always present. Business correspondence is an umbrella term used for any form of written communication which happens in business relationships. It could be with business partners or internal communication within the organization. So this is another definition of business correspondence. It has mentioned here that it could also occur with business partners and internal communication within the organization. So let me give you an overview with this. When we say internal communication with an organization, an example of this are the different memoranda that is being circulated inside our school. Yung mga memoranda po na receive natin from our bosses or from the different school officials in the high position. So these are examples of internal communication. Even yung kayong mga estudyante, yung mga, halimbawa, yung letter na of request na ginagawa nyo if you are going to conduct a meeting or to host an event, that you are going to ask permission from the campus administrator, from the coordinator of the different units in our school. So that is an example of internal communication within an organization. The organization that is being referred to here is, of course, our school, the CBSUA. Kasi isang organization po tayo. Tapos naman, halimbawa, yung sa inyo, yung iba dyan, yung sa pre-service teachers, you are currently, or you had conducted your research studies, di ba? Nag-conduct kayo ng research studies. So, yun, sa pag-conduct nyo, you have written different letters. These are called, could be letter of request, asking the other agency or asking the other organization for a permission that you are going to conduct that research and that particular organization. Halimbawa, meron akong natukawan dati, meron akong napanelan na parang sa San Isidro High School, pero hindi ata sa batch yung nakaraang batch. Yung respondents nila is the students from San Isidro National High School sa Libmanan. So, they have written a letter of request to the principal, asking the principal to give them permission to conduct their research or to become the students of that school to be their respondent. So, ganun po. So, that one, that is between different organizations na. Diyan na po papasok. Yan pumapasok sa between different organizations. Yung business correspondence na yon is between different organizations. Kasi labas po sa school, hindi po within the organization. Then business correspondence is mostly in a form of letters. That's true. People related to any business understand the significance of business letters since this correspondence and business communication can be used by them to express themselves, ask a doubt or clarification regarding any uncertainty. So, ang business communication or the business correspondence rather is not only about something but also the purpose is if there is a thing that need to be clarified, so yan, you can write a business letter. Pwede po kayong magsulat ng business letter. Also, for other things, you can also write a business letter and of course, you have to send that to the concerned person. Later on, we will also included also in the discussion for this morning are different types of business letters. Okay, so ito na. One of the different kinds of business correspondence is a business letter. So when we say a business letter, this is a formal document often sent from one company to another or from a company to its clients, employees, and stakeholders. For example, business letters are used for professional correspondence between individuals as well. Here, class, I'm sorry, natawag ko kayong class. Nasasanay ako ng class. Okay, here, in business letter, of course, the language that we are going to use is the formal language. Hindi po tayo gagamit ng mga informal, colloquial, or slang terminologies. Kasi nga, formal document siya. Considered siyang formal document. Professional ang tone. Okay po. Then we have here the elements of business letter. In other words, pag sinabing elements of business letters, ito po yung mga parts. These are the other terms for this is parts of business letters. I know that you are already familiar with this kasi since elementary baga, we are taught by our teachers to write letters. Diba? Meron din, when I was in elementary, I remembered yung heading, kung paano yung I think I was in grade 3, that was in 1997. So, medyo matanda na ako eh. 1997, grade 3 ako. Yun, that was the first time that this elements of business letters was introduced to me. First time ko siyang ma-encounter when I was in grade 3. Doon kami tinuruan sa English subject namin, ng teacher namin na magsulat. Same in Filipino subject, na of course the content is also written in Filipino language. Doon kami tinuruan kung ano yung mga different parts or different elements of a letter. Both for business letters, pero of course since elementary, hindi naman doon nilagay or in-emphasize, it was not emphasize the business letters. Yung tinuro, mostly ang tinuro sa amin is friendly letters, tapos yung excuse letters. na kung magpa-text ka sa class, ganon, how are you going to write it? Okay, so business letters are a common form of writing in any organization. The traditional parts of a business letter are, of course, letter A, the heading. The heading contains the writer's address and the date of the letter. The writer's name is not included and only a date is needed in headings on letterhead stationery. Before, the writer's name is included in the heading. This is also acceptable still. Tinatanggap pa po naman yan na sa heading, pwede mong ilagay yung pangalan nyo. But at present, ang mas ginagamit na, the one that we use for writing the heading is only the address and the date of the writer of the letter or the sender. Yung date, yung address, tapos sa baba ng address is the date. That is the one that we put in the heading. Or if you are writing with a letter within your organization, you can put the letterhead in the letterhead the company's name. Sa atin baga sa school, we always put in the heading yung name ng school natin, yung CBSUA plus yung logo. Then we proceed to the date. Sa date na tayo nag-i-start. But if that is a personal letter, say for example, you are applying for a job on a certain employer. So you have to put your address in the heading, then below the address is the date, because that's important. Especially if you are going to personally give the letter to your potential employer. Mabuti kung ipapadala mo siya via snail mail kasi sa envelope may address doon. So, pero kung personal mo siyang ilalagay, personal mo siyang ibibigay sa employer mo, so dapat ilalagay niyo po yung address. Sometimes your email address is also included there. Pwede mo din po siyang isama sa heading ang ano mo. But it depends on the type of letter that you are sending. Pag application letter na naka-attach po ang resume, pwede naman na you will start with the date na lang sa heading. Wala na po yung address since your address and other personal information such as your email and your cell phone number is also already reflected or is already written in your resume. So kahit po wag nyo nang ilagay ang address at ang email address sa letter nyo, mag-start na kayo sa date. Pwede naman po yon. Pag cover letter or the application letter, kung saan a resume is attached. Okay po? So siguro okay naman na sa heading. So let's have an example of heading. So this is an example of the heading. The address of the writer or of the sender plus the date. But of course, there is a separate element for this. So next is the date. Date may be written either International Standard Format or American National Standard. As you can see from your screen, you are going to start with the year, followed by the month, followed by the day or the date. Then for American, we have the month, the date, and the year. Commonly, we Filipinos, we follow the American format. Nakasanayan natin na ganyan po ang format ng date natin when it comes to the letter. So, you are going to write the name of the month. Hindi po pwede yung isang informal way of writing. So, next, ito. So, do not write ganyan. Kasi this is for informal communication. So, mga ina-abbreviate natin yung date na ganyan. So, we just put the numerical value of the date. Like, for example, this one, 10/2/2021. That stands for October 2, 2021. For formal communication, yan, sa mga letters, formal participants. Naririnig pa naman po ako?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay po, thank you. Kasi baka sabi ko baka nawalan ako ng internet. Kasi minsan ganyan pag sa Zoom, pag naka-record yung presentation, pag nag-stop siya, sometimes it's because sa akin lang siya, sa internet lang. Okay, so let me continue. Another type is ito, kung saan you're going to use hyphen. Ay nako, wait lang, mag-hi daw ang anak ko. Mag-hi ka na, tapos okay na siya. Okay, so i-close ko muna ang camera, ha? Okay, so the third one, yung October 2, 2021, where we use, instead of slash, we use hyphen, di ba? Hyphen. So, hindi po yan accepted for formal writings, sa formal communication. We should use yun, October 2, 2021. Write the name of the month. The third one, we have the inside address. Wait lang po. Like, sige lang. Okay, the second element is the inside address. This is very important also. So when we say inside address, that shows the name and address of the recipient of the letter. This information helps prevent confusion. Also, if the recipient has moved, the inside address helps to determine what to do with the letter. And the inside address includes the appropriate title of respect of the recipient and the position or designation in the company or agency. Then copy the name of the company exactly as that company writes it. When do you have the names of individuals, remember to address them appropriately, like Mrs., Miss, Mr., Doctor, and so on. If you are not sure what is correct for an individual, try to find out how that individual signs letters or consult the forms of address section in a dictionary. So this one, class, nag-class na naman ako. So this one, the inside address, that shows first, of course, you have to include the name, then the address of the recipient. But if you are writing for a certain person, say for example, in an agency, of course, below the name, you are going to include the designation, the position of that person. Then after that is the name of the company. And also, take note, you have to write exactly as that company writes it. For example, sa school natin, we can rate our school like CBSUA, all uppercase or naka-caps lock, CBSUA-Sipocot. Hindi na baga tayo naglalagay ng campus. So, just write CBSUA-Sipocot. For example, Professor Zeus M. Lusitano. So, that's the name of the recipient. Then, what is his designation? He is the campus administrator. So, you are going to put campus administrator below, then the CBSUA-Sipocot. Then, Sipocot comes first. So, here is the example. Dr. Leslie B. Perez, Principal, Makati Science High School, Makati City. Take note pa rin, class pala. Take note. As you can see here, on the example, inside address, the name of the recipient is highlighted, but it is not written in uppercase. Hindi po siya lahat naka-caps lock. Pwede naka-caps lock po. Pero, if you have written the name of the recipient in all uppercases or uppercase, kung naka-uppercase siya lahat, of course, the sender, when it in the complementary clause, yung signature block, lahat din po i-capitalize nyo. So, dapat nag-match po dyan. When I handled the business correspondence noon, maraming nagkakamali dyan ang estudyante kasi hindi siya organized kapag ganyan. And also, that's considered wrong. Halimbawa, sinulat nila sa inside address, name ng recipient Naka-capital letter lahat. Tapos, pagdating dun sa signature block, yung name ng writer, naka-highlight naman, pero hindi nila pinag-capital lahat. So, hindi po nagmamatch. So, dapat nagmamatch po yan. Kung naka-capital lahat ang name of recipient, yung pangalan nyo po as the sender or as the writer, dun sa signature block, sa last part ng letter, dapat po, ika-caps lock nyo din po lahat. Tapos, of course, sabi dito, you have to know the correct title of respect of the recipient. Kung doctor siya, halimbawa, PhD siya, you can write doctor, ganyan. Kung Mr., but another example, if you do not know the correct title of respect of the recipient, halimbawa, hindi nyo naman alam kung kasal na siya, kung single siya, kung married, and so on. So, if that is a female, you can use Miss, MS, period. The abbreviation, yung Miss po, ganun. That is generic term naman yan. Same with the male, pwedeng Mr. But if you know the title of respect, the title of the recipient, so you have to put it, kung engineer, kung doctor, kung attorney, and so on. Then letter C, we have the salutation. The salutation directly addresses the recipient of the letter and is followed by a colon, except when a friendly, familiar, sociable tone is intended, in which case a comma is used. So let me clear this one, sa salutation. Sa salutation po, for business letter, especially for professional tone, wala pong ibang gagamitin dyan na punctuation, colon. Yung tutuldok po. Alam niyo naman po siguro ang colon, di ba? Na tutuldok in Filipino. But if that is a friendly letter, or if the tone is sociable, or if it's not actually business letter, you can put a comma. Yung comma po ang gagamitin. Nakasanayan kasi dati, comma, di ba? Yan yung nakasanayan. Okay. Notice that in the simplified letter format, the salutation line is eliminated altogether. If you don't know whether the recipient is a man or a woman, the traditional practice has been to write sir or madam, then colon. Wait lang. Pwede pong makimute yung kasi medyo maingay. Okay, thank you. Nag-ano kasi nag-i-echo, tapos medyo maingay-ingay dito. Saan natin? Wait lang. Okay naman. Okay, so if you do not know if the recipient is a man or a woman, you are going to have the traditional practice in which you can write both sir/madam, or one may use home. Sabi ko iyo lang po yan ang pwede nyo gamitin na punctuation mark, yung colon, for formal business letters. If this expression used, one must need to consider the inside address. Okay, yon. Halimbawa, yung recipient ng letter nyo nga babae na, may inside address na kayo, tapos halimbawa, yun na yung example, Dr. Helen P. Perez. So obviously, female ang recipient nyo. So no need nang maglagay kayo ng sir/madam. So you can put, dear ma'am, o kaya madam, colon, or dear madam, o kaya dear Dr. Perez, colon. So take note case-to-case basis po ang pagsusulat ng salutation. Kung wala kayong inside address, kasi hindi nyo alam ang recipient kung sino, so you can just put to whom it may concern, or itong sir/madam. This expression is only used when the sender does not know the recipient as to name, as to sex, either a male or female. So yun na po yung sinasabi ko. You are going to notice, or you are going to observe your letter if in the inside address the recipient is a male or female. Tapos, saka kayo pipili ng tamang term na gagamitin nyo for salutation. Kung sir, kung ma'am, kung madam, or kung yung last name lang. Of course, if you're going to use the last name, you are still needed to include the title of respect. Halimbawa, Mr. Perez, Mrs. Perez. So look at the example below. Dear sir, if that is a male. So yung second, dear Mr. Gomez. So you know the recipient is Mr. Gomez. So you use the last name of the recipient. Then madam, if your recipient is a female, to whom it may concern, if you don't know the recipient, if it's a male or female, tapos wala kayong inside address. Ano na to, nag-abo ng... Okay, then letter D, the next element is the subject or the reference line. The subject line replaces the salutation or is included with it. The subject line announces the main business of the letter, but this section is optional. Usually, we do not use subject line for a business letter. Bihira naman pong nagagamit ng subject ang business letter. Pag memorandum, yan, laging may subject. So you can use RE, then punctuate it with column. That stands for subject. Pag may RE na ganyan, that means subject. Pwede din naman pong gamitin nyo ang term na subject, tapos punctuate it with colon. So example here, the subject is about the credit card payment. So in other words pala, pag sinabing subject, kung ano po ang about ng letter. What is the letter is all? What's the letter all about? Then letter E, we have the body of the letter. It is the content of the letter. Obviously, syempre, the body of the letter is the content of the letter. This is what the letter is all about. It must have a simple introductory line or sentences, then the content, and of course, the conclusion. So here is the example of the body of the letter. Of course, you have to have your introduction. Usually, ang introduction yung greetings nyo. So, when you can put, commonly dati noon, greetings of peace ang mga ginaing sinusulat, but it is obsolete. Panahon pa po yan ni Kopong-Kopong. So, you can just put greetings, punctuate it with period. Ang iba, you can also punctuate it with exclamation point. Pwede po yon. Pero somehow, pag exclamation point kasi ang punctuation, it expresses a strong feeling. So parang hindi siya passive or parang hindi siya formal ang dating, hindi professional ang tone. So you can punctuate it with period. Pero if that is a congratulatory letter, so you can punctuate the term greetings, the word greetings with exclamation point. Pero kung halimbawa letter of complaint, ang letter na ginawa nyo, or inquiry letter or resignation letter, so you can just put period after the word greetings. So this is the example. Let me read this one. Greetings. Our school will be hosting a school-based press conference on November 25, 2021. This event includes news writing, feature writing, and editorial writing. In this connection, I would like to invite you as one of the board of judges for news writing on June. Hindi na nag-match na mali yung ano ko dito, hindi ko na edit. On November 25, 2021 at 2 p.m. The venue of the news writing event is at the NTB building, room 202. I believe that your skill and expertise are of great help in shaping the minds of our students in journalism. Hoping that this request will merit your favorable approval. Thank you very much. So this content or this body of the letter is taken from a letter of invitation to one of the board of judges. As you can observe, of course, it is written in the body of the letter what is the event all about. So that's very important. Kaya nga may body of the letter. But take note ha, the body of the letter should be concise and direct to the point. That is for business letters. Wala pong mga paligoy-ligoy dyan. You are not encouraged to use flowering words or yung mga figurative languages, yung mga ginagamit natin for creative writings, di ba? So, hindi po masyado yan na ino-observe pag business letter ang sinulat natin. Hindi po yun pwede na para paligoy-ligoy ka pa. So, it should be concise, direct to the point. Tapos, make sure that the WH question is there. So, this one, since this is an example of a letter of invitation, meron siya, nandyan yung WH. Ano ba yung, who, syempre, yung, the who is the recipient of the letter, what, of course, school-based press conference, when, November 25, again, what event, of course, the news writing. Anong event? Yon. Then, the venue, where, is also included there. So, ang pagsulat niyo po ng body of the letter, of course, depends on what kind of business letter you are writing. Depende po sa business letter na sinusulat nyo. If that is an application letter, say for example, job application letter, it should also be direct and concise. You are going to write your purpose. You are going to include your purpose in writing. Bakit ka ba nagsulat? Of course, your purpose is to apply. Say for example, this is, or I am writing because I have seen from an advertisement that your company is in need of a supervisor for Cavite branch, for example. In this view, I would like to apply for the said position. So yun, yung purpose mo, why you have written that letter. It's because you would like to apply for the job that is being advertised in for example, in the internet. Okay. If your purpose naman is mag-i-inquire, of course, you are going to put that you are inquiring for something. If that is a resignation letter, of course, your purpose is you are going to resign for your current job or for your current position or designation. So let's continue. Letter F, we have the complementary clause. Ito na, other term for this is closing. For informal terminology, we use the term closing. But formally speaking, the term complementary clause is used. The sincerely yours element of the business letter is called the complementary clause. Other common ones are sincerely yours, cordially, respectfully, or respectfully yours. It should be very truly yours. Ang dito po sa naulit ko yung sincerely yours. You can design your own, but be careful not to create florid or wordy ones. Notice that only the first letter is capitalized and it is always followed by a comma. Look at the example here. So take note, ang ika-capitalize nyo lang po ang beginning letter, like the examples. Very truly yours, of course, you must punctuate it with a comma. Ito po, unlike dun sa salutation wherein you can use colon or comma, depende sa tone. Pag sa complementary clause, wala pong ibang gagamitin na punctuation kundi comma. Comma lang. Hindi po pwedeng semicolon, hindi pwedeng colon, mas lalo nang hindi pwedeng period. May mga estudyante ako noon, syempre naman minsan ako confused din sila eh. Nung nag-handle ako nitong business correspondence, yung iba nagpapunctuate sila ng semicolon. Nako-confuse siguro sila dito sa complementary clause. Kasi ang semicolon baga, period, tuldok, tapos may parang quote, may comma. So, yun ang semicolon. So, ang iba, they punctuated their complementary clause with a semicolon, which is wrong. Hindi po yun tama. Kahit saan po, kahit anong book ang i-consult nyo, kahit anong reference, kahit anong source ang i-consult nyo, wala po kayong mahanap dyan na complementary clause nagagamit ng ibang punctuations. Only a comma. So these are the examples of the expressions that you can use in ending your letter in your complementary clause. Pwedeng very truly yours, respectfully, sincerely. Pwede din naman respectfully yours, sincerely yours. Or pwede din naman kayong hindi maglagay ng complementary clause. Pwede naman na name nyo na lang ang ilalagay nyo. Signature block na lang. Pero ang dating kasi nun, pag name nyo lang po ang ilalagay nyo, parang not tactful, parang rude ang dating. Pwede naman yun, na-accept naman. But for the purpose of being tactful and for a more professional tone, so we are encouraged to use complementary clause with the following expressions. So kapag ang sinusulatan mo, superior mo, the most appropriate expression that you are going to use is respectfully. Kapag naman medyo ka-level mo, ang sinusulatan mo, pwedeng sincerely. Or if you are a client or a customer, pwede pong sincerely. Like me, so example ko ang sarili ko. When I always send an email to PLDT, to my credit card bank provider, if there is something that needs to be addressed. Since I am their client, mostly ang ginagamit ko in the complementary clause is sincerely. Especially if halimbawa, nagko-complain ako ng walang internet connection or naghahagad ako ng official receipt. So, ang ginagamit ko po sa complementary clause is sincerely. Kasi, hindi naman sila boss ko, hindi ko naman sila superior. So, sincere naman yung pagsulat ko sa kanila. Then, para hindi masyadong formal yung tone, so I use sincerely. Para kumbaga good vibes ang tone. Pero kung magle-letter kayo kunyari sa mayor or kay president natin sa school, please use respectfully or respectfully yours. Mas maganda po yun. When I was a job placement coordinator, wherein I also host a seminar, pre-employment seminar, yung PEOS, sa mga graduating students noon. Pag nagbibigay ako ng letters sa speakers, I always use respectfully. Kasi syempre, para mas formal yung tone, respectfully po ang ginagamit ko sa letter, sa invitation letter ko sa kanila. Okay po. So let's continue. Ito na yung sinasabi ko, signature block from the term signature that involves the name of the writer or of the sender. Usually, you type your name 4 lines below the complementary clause and sign your name in between. If you are a woman and want to make your marital status clear, your Miss, or Mrs. in the parentheses before the typed version of your first name. So eto, i-clear ko po ito sa inyo. Pag kasi magsasign kayo, pag magsisignature kayo, kahit wala na pong title, if you are going to affix your signature, putting your title before your name is not necessary. Although, pwede naman, pero if maglalagay kayo ng title nyo, it should be inside a parenthesis. Pero hindi naman yan pinapractice masyado natin ngayon. Kasi, ang talagang ini-encourage ngayon, especially for English language, for as far as English language is concerned, as far as the rules of English language is concerned, hindi na po kayo maglalagay ng title nyo. Kung Mr. kayo, kung Doctor, pwede naman na pangalan nyo lang. Kasi nga, pero kung halimbawa, PhD kayo, you have to put PhD after your name. Hindi po yung Doctor before your name. So, eto. Whenever possible, include your title or the name of the position you hold just below your name. For example, technical writing student, sophomore data processing, and so on. But there is a need, if there is a need to affix your signature, putting your title before your name is not necessary. So let us have this example. Below is an example of complementary clause with signature block. So ito na po yung sinasabi ko. Respectfully, comma, then 4 spaces below the complementary clause, you have to put your name. Ang ina-upload natin po ito na signature block. So yun na yung sinabi ko, kapag doon sa inside address, naka-all caps lock kayo, ika-caps lock nyo din po ang name nyo. Then you have to affix your signature above your name. Then you are going to put what particular designation or position you have. So ikaw kunyari, nag-letter ka, you are the moderator. As the example here, moderator, publication, office. Or if you are applying for a job, you can put applicant below your name. Kung ako noon, nung sa job placement, since I have written invitation letters to the speakers, ang linagay ko, syempre, sa baba ng name ko, Apple Jane B. Tagum, below my name, I have put coordinator, job placement unit. So, ilalagay nyo po dyan yung certain designation nyo or position. Pero kung halimbawa, estudyante ka, nag-apply ka ng scholarship, you have written an application letter for a scholarship, so you can put student or kung anong year ka, halimbawa, course mo, BS Ed student, BE Ed student, BS Cream student, ganon. Also, as you notice here, wala po siyang title, ang name. Kasi nga, mag-a-affix ng signature. You can also write your signature block in this way. Okay, another example. Ito na yung sinasabi ko po. Very truly yours. Then, 4 spaces below it is the name. Since yung sender is a doctor of philosophy, so the title is put after the name. Tapos, of course, the signature will be affixed above the name. Then, the job title or the designation, principal, then, of course, included also there is the name of the school. Okay, let's see, meron pa dito. So, pwede din ganito ang pagsulat nyo ng PhD. So, PhD can be written both yung walang period or pwede din yung may period na PH, period, D, period. Pwede din na ganun lang po sa taas. Or pwede nga na wala na yan period, PhD lang, tapos wala ng period yan. What else? Ito, iba naman to. So, ito naman, for those na may multiple titles, attorney siya, at the same time, Doctor of Philosophy. So, pwede pong ganito ang pagkasulat ng name. Pwede accepted po yan. Tapos, yung signature is, will be affixed on or above the name. So, Attorney Joanne M. Cruz, PhD, University President for CBSUA. For example lang yan ha. Ito, multiple titles. Attorney na siya, PhD pa siya, or Doctor of Philosophy pa siya, Doctor of Education pa, sesto pa siya. So, ganun pa ang pagsulat ng name. Same po yan sa inside address nyo. Kung yung recipient ng letter nyo as maraming titles or has multiple titles, so pwede pong ganun ang gagawin nyo. Naka-highlight yung name, tapos after the name, yung mga title niya. Ito example. Another example, Engineer Ronaldo V. Vivares, PhD, University President for CBSUA. Di ba si Sir Uvas? I know, kilala niyo naman si Sir Uvas. Kasi dalawa ang title niya. Engineer siya, at the same time, Doctor of Philosophy. So, pag sinulat ba ang name niya, Engineer Edgardo B. Uvas, PhD. Note, for written letters, you have to indicate your handwritten signature. For email, signature block is enough. Or you can also put, ito yung uso sa atin ngayon since pandemic, since mostly the things that we do is online. So we only affix our e-signature. Pero pwede naman pag sa email kahit wala pong e-signature. Okay, then we have other elements which are optional are as follow. The first one is enclosures. To make sure that the recipient knows that items accompany the letter in the same envelope, use such indications as enclosure or the abbreviation ENCL period, or enclosures if there are 2 or more. For example, if you send a resume and writing sample with your application letter, you do this, enclosure resume. If the enclosure is lost, the recipient will know. Yun po lagi ang ginagawa. Kapag application letter, or we also called it as cover letter, if there is a resume and other documents that is attached to the letter, you are going to put below your signature block that could be written 5 spaces to 6 spaces below your signature block as the term enclosure or the abbreviation ENCL, then colon, tapos kung ano po yung kasama na attachment. Halimbawa, yun na, resume, certificates, ilalagay nyo po doon. Pero kung minention mo na siya sa body of your letter, halimbawa, attach are the pertinent documents that needed, such as resume, certificates of training, certificates of professional eligibility. If you have mentioned this in the body of your letter, so wag na po kayong maglagay ng enclosure sa baba ng signature block nyo kasi redundant na po yon. Intindihan po? Madami kasi dyan nagkakamali eh. Nag-mention na ng attach are the pertinent documents such as resume, ganyan. Tapos naglalagay pa po ng enclosure sa baba. Wag na pong ganon. So you are going to choose between the two if you're going to put enclosure or you are just going to mention that in the body of your letter. Then next, mga optional lang naman to ha, case-to-case basis. It does not mean na every time you are going to write a business letter, laging may ganito. Hindi po. Optional lang po sila. Depende lang po kung anong communication, kung anong letter ang ginawa nyo, kung ano yung mga attachment, and so on. Then, number 2, we have the copies or the carbon copies, also known as carbon copies. If you send copies of a letter to others, indicate this fact among the end notations also. If, for example, you were upset by a local merchant handling your repair problems and were sending a copy of your letter to the Better Business Bureau, you would write this, CC, Better Business Bureau. If you plan to send a copy of to your lawyer, write something like CC, Mr. Raymond Mason, attorney. So, abbreviation nito, class, is CC. Ibig sabihin, aside dun sa current recipient ng letter nyo, kung may iba pa kayong pagbibigyan or may iba pang recipient, so sa baba nun ng signature block nyo, kung may iba pang nag-receive recipient ng letter nyo na hindi man siya yung main recipient, lalagyan nyo po ng CC, then pang-tweet it with a colon. Tapos pangalan nung another recipient. Pwede po yun kasi kung kailangan multiple recipient ang pero isa lang ang dapat na main recipient. So, ganun na lang po ang gagawin nyo. Kung nag-provide kayo ng another copy doon sa iba. So, copies or carbon copies, pero the appropriate writing abbreviation is CC. Tapos, pang-tweet it with colon. Okay? So let us go to business letter formats. This is very important also. If you are writing a business letter, select one of the common formats as shown in the example letters listed below. This include the block letter format, the semi-block letter, or the traditional indented format. So let us see the examples. First, we have the full block format. So this is the example of the full block format. Masdan nyo po, siguro nakikita nyo naman sa screen. Okay, the first element is the heading. Included there is the address of the sender. 1701 Jersey Lane, Austin, Texas, 78759. Followed by the date written in international format, 6 June 2021. So yon. What do you notice dito sa full block na format? We call this full block kasi there is no indentation. Lahat lang po siya written on the left portion. Tama ba? Oo, naka-left. Naka-left portion of your paper. Pantay po yan lahat. Nakikita nyo naman po siguro. From the heading down to your signature block. Hindi po kayo dyan mag-i-indent. Kahit po mag-i-enumerate kayo, for example, you have to use numbers or letters na i-enumerate nyo, hindi din po kayo mag-i-indent. Tapos, ito example, tingnan nyo. Sa inside address, the recipient's name is written, highlighted, but not written in uppercase. So, dito naman po sa signature block, naka-highlight siya, pero hindi rin siya naka-caps lock. Kasi nga, dapat congruent yung dalawa. It should be congruent. Then, look at the salutation. Dear Mr. Holloway, punctuated with a colon. Then, the body, actually dito wala siyang nakalagay na greetings. Pero, encourage po na dapat maglalagay kayo na greetings. Just the word greetings, katulad dun sa example na binigay ko sa inyo. Just the word greetings, then punctuate it with a comma. Tapos, the complementary clause is sincerely yours. Ito, ginawa ko na lang tong dalawang space kasi hindi makukuha dito. Medyo malaki. Pero it should be 4 spaces below your complementary clause. Or pwede naman yung 2, depende naman. Kami nga, nagagamit din kami ng 2. Tapos magsisignature. Okay, then, because the sender is the applicant, so he also put below his name, applicant. Full block po siya. Also, kapag encoded, sorry, kapag mag-i-encode kayo, kasi usually ngayon naman naka-encode na tayo, make sure na ang margin nyo is equal also. Kung naka-1 kayo sa left, naka-1 din dapat kayo sa right, tapos justified dapat yan. Justified. Pantay-pantay din. Diba? Nakikita nyo naman po dito sa example. Kaya pig screen captured ko to kasi I would like to present yung naka-ano siya sa bond paper. So the margin, both on left and right, is 1 inch. Naka 1 inch po yan. Tapos, from the margin, kapag full block, magwa 1.5 kayo or 1 inch ulit. Tapos sila na ang pantay-pantay. Opo. Okay. Okay, notice that there was no indentation on the beginning of the paragraph for full block style. All entries are written on the left portion only. Now, consider the next examples, the semi-block and the indented formats. So, ito po yung semi-block. For this format, there is no indentation made for each beginning of the paragraph. Wait. So, ano natin? Let's see the difference. So for semi-block, you are going to put your heading on the right portion, upper portion of your paper. Then, followed by your inside address, then your salutation na naka-pantay-pantay din sila. Walang indentation. Even if you need to start a new paragraph, hindi ka po mag-i-indent pa din sa semi-block. Only indentation nito is on the heading and on the complementary clause and signature block. Nakikita nyo naman po. Nag-indent lang po dito sa heading and also on the signature block and on the complementary clause. The inside address, the salutation, the beginning paragraph of each beginning paragraph of the body of the letter, these are all aligned. Magkakapantay po sila. Then the third one, we have the indented format. The indented format is like this. When writing a letter using indented format, indent each paragraph. First, indent the heading. This information should be located at the top of the page, either in the center or indented on the right side of the paper. Bakit kaya? Ano ba yan? Anuhan ko nadupingan. Hayaan nyo na yan lang. For the paragraph, indent it about 1 centimeter to the right of the left margin. Other parts of this letter are moved farther to the right half of the page. So if you can see po, naka-indent po yung heading, yung beginning paragraph ng body of the letter for each paragraph, naka-indent siya. Likewise, with the complementary clause and the signature block. Okay, let us go to the types of business letters. Paano ba ito mawala? May napindot. Pero hindi man ako nagpindot eh. Ayalat. Ito raw mag-erase. Ayan. May napindot ako. Wait lang ha, kasi nakaka... Okay. Okay na. Okay, so these are the types, some of the common types business letters. The first one is the cover letters. Cover letters usually accompany a package, report, or another merchandise. They are used to describe what is enclosed, why it is being sent, and what the recipient should do with it. If there is any action that needs to be taken, these types of letters are generally very short and succinct. An example of a cover letter is a job application letter, wherein resume and other pertinent documents are enclosed for perusal of the recipient of the letter. Di ba, class? Ito, na-mention ko to kanina. Sabi ko, cover letter or job application letter. I kept on mentioning this earlier. So this is one type of business letter. This is called cover letter because written in the body of the letter are the different enclosures. And yun na, it describes what is enclosed and why it is being sent. So if that is a job application letter, and enclosed there is your resume, so yun na, i-mention mo po doon, or you are going to put enclosure. Katulad nung na-discuss natin earlier, nasabi ko earlier. The second is the letters of resignation. Siyempre, from the term resignation, the purpose is to resign. When an employee plans to leave his job or her job, this is sexist ha, hindi ko nalagyan ng her. It should be his or her. When an employee plans to leave his or her job, a letter of resignation is usually sent to his immediate manager, giving him notice and letting him know when the last day of employment will be. In many cases, the employee also will detail his reason for leaving the company. So if you are planning to leave your job, you are going to write a letter of resignation, then you are going to send it to your immediate manager, of course, noticing your manager when will be your last day of employment. And if possible, if the reason is not too personal, you can also include your reason for leaving the company. Pero kapag too personal, you can just put for some personal and confidential reasons. Pwede pong ganon. Accepted naman yan. Kaya nga ni confidential and personal, kasi hindi mo siya pwedeng i-mention sa letter mo. Pero if the reason is not very personal, say for example, health matters, you can put that in your letter. For example, I am resigning because I was diagnosed with, for example, ano bang sakit na medyo I was diagnosed with, okay, liver cirrhosis na kunyari. I would like to resign from my current job because I was diagnosed with liver cirrhosis and my physician advised me to take some rest and I have to undergo weekly check-up. So, ganon, pwede mo po yun ilagay. O kaya, if you are going or migrating to another country, so you can put that as reason, kung yun talaga ang reason. Wag naman po kayong masyadong magsinungaling, di ba? Pero, in reality, meron din naman mga ganyan-ganyan, especially if the agency or the employee is no longer satisfied with the current company he or she is employed to. Halimbawa, nabababaan na siya ng sahod. So, to make it tactful, kahit yung pinakarason naman talaga, maghahanap na siya ng bagong trabaho or ayaw niya na dun sa company kasi nga nabababaan na siya ng salary o kaya hindi na siya happy doon kasi yung mga katrabaho niya, mga toxic or mga ano, kumbaga hindi niya siya happy sa environment doon, please do not mention that, even if that is the reason. To make it tactful, wag niyo pong i-mention that. So what would be the thing that you would put in your resignation letter? So you can just say, I would like to seek a greener pasture, or I would like to turn over a new life. So pwedeng ganun po. Wag niyo naman sabihin na, I would like to resign because my colleagues are toxic, or you are a toxic boss. That is very inappropriate. That is not being tactful. Kahit naman galit kayo sa boss nyo, wag niyo naman pong prangkahin sa letter nyo na ganon. Kasi ang mangyayari, kayo ang magluluwas na unprofessional. Pag ganon po. Okay. Next is letters of recommendation. Prospective employers often ask job applicants for letters of recommendation before they hire them. This type of letter is usually from a previous employer or professor, and it describes the sender's relationship with and opinion of this job seeker. So if you are applying for a job, you can ask a letter of recommendation from your former employer or from your professor. Siyempre, positive ang content ng letters of recommendation. Saan naman kayo makakahanap na nagre-recommend ng applicant na ang nakalagay negative? Balangan naman ilagay dyan, ay kang estudyante ko yan. When she or he was my student, he or she was very lazy. He always come to school late, ganyan. He did not submit requirements. So, hindi po yan ang content ng letters of recommendation. It should always be positive and encouraging. Halimbawa, kahit yung totoo, nung naging estudyante mo, yung tao na yon, hindi naman siya masyadong matalino or hindi siya on time mag-submit ng requirements, do not put that. Kasi, ang mangyayari, hindi yan ma-hire sa ina-applyan niya. So, you always encourage to put positive words and of course words of encouragement so that the company will hire, or the current particular employer will hire the applicant. Ma-hire po siya. Or kung dati kang employer na wala naman naging problema dyan sa applicant na yan, nung employee pa siya sa company nyo, so please do the honor, write something positive about that employee. Pero kung nag-awol siya, nagpara-absent, tapos nag-awol, obviously, hindi siya mabibigyan ng letters of recommendation from the previous employer. Next, we have the inquiry letters. Inquiry letters ask a question or elicit information from the recipient. When composing this type of letter, keep it clear and precise and list exactly what information you need. Be sure to include your contact information so that it is easy for the reader to respond. So, inquiry letters, you are going to inquire. From the term inquiry, of course, there is a need to inquire. Say, for example, you send a letter to our hotel resort inquiring the rate of the stay. Ako, ginigibo ko yan lagi kapag may prospect akong, halimbawa, beach resort na gusto namin magbakasyon doon ng, kung halimbawa, 2 days or kung ilang days. So, I always send a letter of inquiry and other things that I would like to know in that particular beach resort. Likewise, you can also inquire for services, for product information, and so on. Pero nowadays naman especially for online shopping, we no longer send letter of inquiry because we can directly chat the seller, especially for shopping applications like Lazada and Shopee. Pwede niyong mag-inquire, magta-type na lang kayo sa chat box if you are inquiring for the information of a certain product. Then next, we have the complaint letters. The words and tone you choose to use in the letter complaining to a business may be deciding factor on whether your complaint is satisfied. Be direct but tactful and will have a possible solution. And also, take note that complaint letter is different from a complaint affidavit. Iba po ang complaint letter sa complaint affidavit. Marami po kasi ditong namamali Ang pag-complaint letter, so if you have solved the issue or not, you can still send an adjustment letter to the person who is complaining. Of course, it should be humble. Hindi po pwedeng kahit pa mali yung customer nyo, hindi po pwedeng magiging rude din kayo. So it should also be humble. Especially if mali yung company nyo or mali yung tao mo. Halimbawa, ako yung manager ng resort. May nag-file ng complaint, nag-send sa akin ng complaint letters kasi yung iba, yung for example, yung isang guest na-serban ng panis na pagkain tapos nagkaroon siya ng food poisoning. So, nag-letter sila ng complaint sa akin kasi ako yung manager. So, in response, I am going to write an adjustment letter asking for an apology and what could be the possible solution doon sa issue, doon sa problema. Say for example, kung na-food poison at nagpa-doctor, nagpa-hospital, so pwede ako mag-offer ng that I'm going to shoulder, that the company or the restaurant will shoulder the bill in the hospital or a certain amount in the hospital. Tapos syempre, you are going to be humble, mag-a-ask ng apology. Then we have the other letters. The sales letters, typical sales letters start off with a very strong statement to capture the interest of the reader. Since the purpose is to get the reader to do something, these letters include strong calls to action, detail the benefit to the reader or taking the action, and include information to help the reader to act, such as including a telephone number or website link. So ito naman, pag sinabing sales letter, nabubulol ako, may sipon ako eh. So pag sinabing sales letters, the purpose is, or the tone is persuading, mang-i-encourage ka, manghihikayat ka para the other party will do something. Halimbawa, sales letter that you are encouraging people to buy your product. Halimbawa, yung product mo is different gadgets. So yon, i-encourage mo yung letter mo, yung tone mo. You are going to encourage the other party to buy your products. Also, you are going to include your telephone number. Syempre, kasi kung magpo-purchase na sila, tatawagan ka. Also, the website link. If you are selling online, so you can include the website link there, wherein the other party or the recipient will just click the link and they will see your products. Strong calls to action. Then the next one, the order letters. Order letters are sent by consumers or businesses to a manufacturer, retailer, or wholesaler to order goods or services. These letters must contain specific information such as model number, name of the product, the quantity desired, and expected price. Payment is sometimes included with the letter. Pero nowadays, we do not include, and it is not encouraged that you are going to include the payment in the letter kasi baka mawala yan. Marami na ngayong ganyan na nangyayari. So here, you are going to send a letter to a business or to businesses or manufacturer or to a retailer or seller. What are you going to include in your letter? Of course, you are going to include specific information. For example, you are going to buy a cell phone. What is the brand of the cell phone that you are going to buy? For example, Apple. What is the model? For example, Apple na iPhone 12. Yon. What color? Is it blue, rose gold, silver, purple. So you are going to include that as product information. Of course, the quantity. Taatyan ka yan, padarahan ka ning kadakol, di ba? Baka padarahan ka ning 5 iPhone 12, tapos kung COD, kay puwanan mo tong bayaran na 5 iPhone 12 na to. Di ba? So you have also to indicate the quantity. Then, in reality, in the present time, we no longer include the payment in the letter, sabi ko nga. So you can, kung sa mga ganyan ngayon, pwede kayong magbayad, madami ng mode of payment, from credit card, bank transfer, GCash, or Paymaya, pwede din na cash on delivery. Pero the most important thing that you're going to put in your order letters are the information of the product that you are going to buy, or the information of the services that you are going to avail. Kasi hindi po yan maiintindihan ng recipient kung walang specific information, kung incomplete yan. Hindi magiging, there would no clear flow of the communication. Magkakaroon kayo ng miscommunication. Then the third one, we have the acknowledgement letters. Acknowledgement letters act as simple receipts. Businesses send them to let others know that they have received a prior communication, but action may or may not have taken place. So acknowledgement receipt, for example, ako, nag-letter ka sa akin ng, nagpadala ka ng, you have deposited an amount to my account, then I could send you an acknowledgement letter acknowledging that the payment has been received. Ganun po. Ginagawa ko din yan. Kasi pag nagbayad, for example, nagbayad ako sa insurance ko. Tapos usually kasi after 2 days, nagsisend na sa akin ng acknowledgement receipt or letter informing me that the payment has been received. Pero an example of acknowledgement letters. They are acknowledging the payment that I have done. Yung ginawa ko pong payment sa insurance. Okay, we are through with the different business letters. So last naman po ito, memorandum. This is singular, the plural is memoranda. And this is also important sa atin lahat. Kasi nga, this kind of business correspondence is being circulated within the organization. Mostly, kapag inside lang ng organization, we do not write business letter, but rather memorandum. But this is case-to-case basis, ha? Not all employees are required or are encouraged to write a memorandum. Depende lang po. Mostly, ang nagsusulat ng memorandum is, of course, the superiors, the high-rank officials. Diba? Yung mga high officials natin. So, what is a memorandum? A memorandum, more commonly known as a memo, is a short message or record used for internal communication in a business or organization. Once the primary form of internal written communication, memorandums have declined in use since the introduction of email and other forms of electronic messaging. However, being able to write clear memos certainly can serve you well in writing internal business emails, as they often serve the same purpose. By the way, as you can observe, so i-clear ko po ha, grammatically speaking, you can both use memoranda for plural and memorandums also for plural. Both are accepted po. Accepted po yan. Pwedeng memoranda, pwedeng memorandums, pwedeng memos. Lahat po yan accepted. Pero we use the term memos for informal, written, informal language po. Pag formally, we use memoranda, or pwede din na memorandums. Kasi baka sabihin nyo, memorandums, mali nga si ma'am. Big plural nga yan, memorandums, at memoranda nga yan ang plural. Pero, both are accepted po. Okay. Memos can be used to quickly communicate with a wide audience, something brief but important, such as procedural changes, price increases, policy additions, meeting schedules, reminders for teams, or summaries of agreement terms. For example, communication strategist Barbara Diggs Brown says that an effective memo is short, concise, highly organized, and never late. It should anticipate and answer all questions that a reader might have. It never provides unnecessary or confusing information. Let me excuse first myself muna. Hindi ka pa naman tulog. Akala ko tulog ka na at mahulog ka. Okay, let's continue. So here po, you can write a memorandum for different purpose, especially for important, but it should be brief and direct to the point. It depends upon the type of memo that you are going to write. Pwedeng about meeting, reminders, and so on. Or reminding, for example, you are the dean, so you are reminding your faculty to submit the different documents needed, so you can write a memorandum. If you are going to conduct a meeting, of course, you are going to write a memo, then you are going to circulate it to, or send it to your faculty or to whoever the important recipient. Then according to Brown, it should be short, concise, highly organized, and of course, never late. Alam naman, nag-meeting ka na, saka ka lang magme-memo, di ba? So you are going to write a memo in advance of the effectivity date. Alimbawa, magkakandak ka ng meeting. Ngayon yung meeting na hapon, ngayon ka lang nag-memo na morning. Huwag pong ganon. Kasi yung ibang yung recipient ng memo mo, yung concerned persons, it would also be inconvenient on their part. So it should also be, it is encouraged that you are going to write a memo and send it at least 2 or 1 day before the actual time or actual date of the event that is being included in the memo. It should anticipate and answer all questions that the reader may have. Of course, when, where, what, who, and others. Be clear, be focused, be brief, yet complete. Take a professional tone and write as if the world could read it. That is, don't include any information that's too sensitive for everyone to see, especially in this age of copy and paste or click and forward. So, brief and complete, concise, direct to the point. And of course, the tone should be professional. So, this is an example of a memo. Ginamit ko na lang yung school natin, ha? Yung CBSUA, ginamit ko na lang po ito. Pwede nyo pong lagyan syempre ng logo, ng company logo or agency logo. Kasi ako hindi ko na nilagyan. So, let us analyze. There is the heading, the name of the company if you are writing. Kasi usually nga, sabi ko baga, a memo is written within the organization. Pag magsisend ka ng communication, halimbawa ako, empleyado, hindi ako pwedeng mag-send ng memorandum sa ibang company na hindi man ako included, di ba? Na hindi man ako belong. So, ang memo, usually, within organization po yan. And most of the time, ang nag-memo po is the higher authority, yung mataas-taas ang position, sending a memorandum to his or her subordinates. So, this is the example. Central Bicol State University, of course, tapos kunyari sa College of Education. Kanino ba ang memo? To whom the memo is for? Of course, you have to put to, punctuate it with colon, all faculty from, where the memo came from, the college dean, yan na yung that's the subject. Faculty meeting, date, May 10, 2021. Example lang to, ha, kasi may na to. Ang ilalagay nyo sa date class, take note, ang date na ilalagay nyo is not the date of the event, but when the memo is written. Kailan po sinulat ang memo? Ang iba kasi namamali po dyan. Hindi ko sinabing namamali ang mga nagme-memo na sa PR, pero yung mga naging estudyante ko noon sa business correspondence, minsan nilalagay nila yung sa date kung kailan yung date ng meeting or ng event, which is mali po. you are going to put the date when the memo is written. Same po ng letter. Kung kailan nyo yan ginawa yung business letter, yun po ang gagawin yung date. Basta see to it na hindi naman nagiging masyadong malayo or obsolete ang date. Alangan naman ilagay, di man pwedeng ilalagay nyo ang date na nakaraan na masyado, di ba? So, yun, take note, the date that you are going to put in your memo is the date when the memo is written. Then, a short message, look at the message here, the content. Please come for a short meeting on May 12, 2021, 2 p.m. at room 2021. So, that's the room, ha? Hindi po yan year. Room, kunyari, that's the name of the room where the meeting will be held. Okay, let's analyze. So, the date, that's when the memo is written, is May 10. The meeting is May 12. So, sinulat yung memo is 2 days prior to the event. Tama yun. Kasi nga, sabi baga, it should not be late. Hindi ka po pwedeng mag-pass ng memo na on time na ng meeting. That's not a good practice. Hindi po yan pwede. Pag ganyan. Dapat kung magpapakandak ka ng meeting or kung may event, ahead of time ang pag-circulate, ang pagsulat ng memorandum. So what else could be included in the memo? Of course, the agenda of the meeting. Agenda are as follow: IPCR update, submission of grades, last day of service for teaching employees. Then, a short note, attendance is solicited, meaning your attendance is important. Then, of course, it should be indented, pero pwede naman siyang hindi naka-indent. Pwede din naman na you are going to write on the left portion a line from the content of the memo, ang name ng sender ng memo. Pwede din naka-indent siya to the right. Sa right portion siya, below right portion. And of course, it should be highlighted and it should be written in a caps lock also. Then, put the position below the name. Tapos, you are going to affix your signature. Lalagyan nyo din po yan ng signature to make it valid, ang memorandum. So what did you observe in the memo, in the sample memo? Short, direct to the point, walang mga paligoy-ligoy. No flowering words, walang kung ano-anong mga linagay dito. Lahat lang po siya direct to the point, kung ano lang yung kailangan. So if we are going to compare the memorandum to a business letter, memorandum is shorter compared to business letter. Okay, ito na yung tips on how you are going to write. Start with the basics, to whom the article is addressed. Yun na yung to. Where the memo came from. Kanino po nanggaling yun? Diba? Dun sa memo example is from the dean, from the college dean. Let me clear pala dito, class. Kapag ang from, usually, ilalagay nyo kung ano yung designated position mo. Hindi po yung pangalan mo mismo. Pero pwede din naman na pangalan, tapos pwede din na dyan ka na magsasign. Kung linagay mo ang pangalan mo sa from, pwede ka na dyan mag-sign. Pero, if that is the case, wag na kayong maglagay ng pangalan. Dun, you don't need to put your name below sa memo. Kapag linagay mo na po yung pangalan mo sa from, di ba sa amin napapansin ko din po yan. Minsan, yung from, yung sender, doon na direkta nang nilagay po ang pangalan, tapos doon na din siya nagsasign. So, wala na po yan na name sa baba. Pero kung ganyan po, ganito po ang ginawa, na only the designated position of the sender is reflected on from or where the memo came from, you have to put your name and of course, again, the position or designation doon sa baba. So, ito na yung tips on writing the memo. Of course, where the memo came from, subject line, and the date when the memo is written. Start the body of the memo with a clear purpose, state what you need the readers to know, and conclude with what you need readers to do if necessary. Remember that employees may just skim the memo upon receipt, so use short paragraphs, subheads, and where you can use lists. These are points of entry for the eye, so the reader can refer back easily to the part of the memo that he or she needs. Okay, di ba itong example, balikan natin. Nakalist lang yung agenda, hindi naka-paragraph. Kasi nga, para pag in-skim or in-scan ng reader, madaling mag-gets ng reader. Because memo does not need a thorough reading. Skimming or scanning are both enough for memorandum. Ako na. Example lang naman ako ha, pami na lang ako. So ako talaga, to be honest, pag nagbabasa ako ng memo, scan lang ang ginagawa ko or skim. Kaya minsan naman, may times na pag medyo mahaba-haba yung memo, may na-omit din akong information. So, especially sa mga date niya kung kailan isasubmit. Pero pag gusto ko naman na gusto kong intindihin masyado ang memo, thorough reading ang ginagawa ko. Pero mostly of the readers kasi ini-skim lang nila yan. Lastly, don't forget to proofread. Reading aloud can help you find drop words, repetition, and awkward sentences. Siyempre, ipo-proofread mo ang memo mo kung ikaw ang sender. At yan kayo, sala ang pagka-construct mo ng sentences, di ba? Nakakahiya naman. Next, we have, last topic pala to, meron pa. Promise, last na to. Baka naboboard na kamo. The importance of business correspondence. So, ito na. First is, maintaining proper relationships. The significance of business letter is governed by the fact that it facilitates effective communication, which does not cost the business much. It strengthens the business by making communication within and outside the organization clear and concise. Of course, maintaining proper relationship, because sending a business letter or a memorandum signifies an effective communication. Then act as evidence. The importance of business correspondence is further solidified as it lets business keep records of facts that can serve as evidence at a later point in time. Ganun pa ang mga ginagawa namin sa memorandum na sisend sa amin, mga sinisave namin yan kasi that would act as evidence na ganito may nag-take place na ganyan. So that's very important. So one of the important things of business correspondence. Then creating goodwill. A company's growth increases due to business correspondence. It creates goodwill between business and clients, since any letter like a complaint, feedback, or suggestion promotes a healthy relationship. Kasi nga ang business correspondence is part of communication. So through business correspondence, there is always a goodwill between parties. Na-address yung mga problema, yung mga issues. Then, cost very less. Business correspondence is an inexpensive mode of communication in terms of money as well as time. This method of correspondence in business communication is very convenient for businesses. Helps business expand and grow. A business can have a seamless flow of information regarding any product or resources through business correspondence. So this helps in proper utilization of manpower. Ang mga big companies, of course, they always have this business correspondence. Nagfo-flow po yan sa communication. Ito pa pala na omit ko, removes ambiguity in communication. It is a formal correspondence between the involved parties, which helps in an ambiguous communication. Then types of business correspondence. Ito na yung internal correspondence. Pag sinabing internal, that is within the organization. The flow of information between employees, departments, branches, and units of the same company is termed as internal correspondence. They can be formal or informal. So example natin sa school, ito na po, yung internal correspondence. So pag may letter from GAD office, from guidance office, from the College of Education, from other colleges, from the office of the campus administrator. So these are example of internal correspondence. Some examples of formal internal correspondence are promotion or promotion letter, formal request for approval, memorandum, etc. They are mostly printed on paper. A routine or informal internal correspondence can be a quick instruction between a manager and subordinate, which are mostly in the form of emails. So, yung mga sa GC natin, example po yan ng informal internal correspondence. Hindi na po kailangan magpara-follow ng proper format. Also, you can use informal terminologies, and of course, you can use abbreviations. Diba? Okay, the next type is the external correspondence. The communication between two different organizations or between an organization and a client comes under external correspondence. This type of correspondence in business communication is usually made to suppliers, existing and prospective clients, government offices, etc. So yun na, the letters that is being sent to the other organization, to the other company outside the CBSUA is under external correspondence. Halimbawa, yung mga MOA na ginagawa po ng school sa mga barangay, especially for extension services and research. So that is an example of external correspondence. Nagsisirculate po siya not only inside the campus, inside CBSUA, but also outside and to the other organization. Mga MOA na yan, or yung letter na, yun na, yung invitation letter that we send to different speakers that we invite, especially for those speakers outside the school. So that is an example of external correspondence. Same din po sa letter of invitation, kahit pa teacher siya ng school, kasi that is considered as external correspondence kasi hindi siya included doon sa, it's not included on the responsibility or the job of a teacher within that particular organization. Halimbawa ako, nung nag-send sila ng letter sa akin inviting me as a speaker of this webinar series. So that particular letter is considered as external correspondence kasi outside po yun, yung role ko dito is outside doon sa particular role ko as an instructor in CBSUA. Kumbaga, extra role ko ito. So that communication, that invitation letter that was sent to me is an example of external correspondence. Ang ano doon is between organization and client, ang role ang ano doon, ang concept. Next, we have the sales correspondence. Any communication related to sales is called a sales correspondence. It is not only concerned with the sale of the product or service, but encompasses many other activities. It includes marketing letters, invoices, discount letters, statements of accounts, etc. So yung mga nare-receive natin na statement of accounts, yung mga babayaran natin, for example, sa telecommunications, sa credit card, example po yan ng sales correspondence. Ako nakaka-receive ako niyan for my credit card and my bill sa internet. Tapos also yung pag humingi ako ng official receipt ng pagbayad ko, so considered po yun na sales correspondence. Then we have the routine correspondence, such as correspondence happens routinely like orders, inquiries, invitation replies, etc. Then we have the personalized correspondence. This involves personal and emotional factors. Some of the examples of this type of correspondence are letters of gratitude, congratulation letters, or we also name that as congratulatory letters, appreciation notes, letter of request for a recommendation, etc. Then the circulars. This type of correspondence is used when a business has to convey a common matter to a large audience. For examples are notices of tenders, change in contact information, etc. Okay, that would end my presentation, my discussion. Thank you very much for listening.
Good afternoon to everyone and welcome back to the second part of our webinar. To our participants, do not forget to fill out the attendance through Google form posted and pinned in the chat box of this Zoom meeting. May we remind as well everyone to mute your microphone if not in use for us to avoid unnecessary noise once the speaker started already. For the overview of this afternoon session, We will again have Ma'am Apple Jane Tagum to discuss the preparation for job interview and speech 101, the rudiments of speech communication in the workplace. Once again, let us all welcome Ma'am Apple Jane Tagum.
So again, good afternoon. For this afternoon session, I was again tasked for the discussion of Speech 101, the rudiments of speech communication in the workplace. So this topic is included, or I mean, this topic is related to what we had discussed this morning, because still this is connected to business or to communication within the workplace. Okay po. So I think I shall now proceed with the discussion proper. So candidates with strong public speaking skills are in demand for the many occupations that require the ability to speak to a group. Dynamic and well-prepared speakers are highly valued by employers, and having this skill set can and having this skill set can even help land your leadership positions and can help land you leadership positions and important roles. So same with business correspondence, speaking is necessary once you are working. It's not only necessary for those students, but as an individual, especially if you are already an employee, if you are in a workplace, your ability to speak to a group is very important, diba? That is one of the skills that an individual or a good communicator must master. Kailangan po natin yan ma-master. Kasi when we say ability to speak, it's not only speaking in front of a large audience, but of course, our day-to-day basis of conversation with someone. It could be a colleague, yung boss, or kung sino. It's very important that we have this ability to speak. When we say ability to speak here, we are not referring to this simple ability na kapag nagsalita ka, okay na hindi. So there are particular things that we should consider while we are speaking, syempre. Okay, but before that, let us have first the definition of public speaking. So what is public speaking? Syempre, public speaking, this is very timely, especially that we always experience, or we are always involved in the different events that public speaking is included also. Even if we are just merely the listeners, or even if we are just listening, still we are involved because we are the audience. But how about if we become the speaker himself or herself, diba? The speaker himself or himself. So when we say public speaking, this is a soft skill that requires excellent communication skills, enthusiasm, and the ability to engage in an audience. Soft skills are interpersonal skills that are less technical and more about how you interact with others. So, pag sinabing public speaking, soft skills. Wait lang po. Nagko-call sa akin. I think this is an important. I just need to pick this up. Okay, I'm sorry, may interruption, may deliver kasi ng diaper ng anak ko. Okay. So, public speaking is considered as the soft skill that requires excellent communication skills, enthusiasms, and the ability to engage with an audience. That is true because, of course, we cannot consider that as public speaking if there is no audience, di ba? So, kapag walang audience, hindi po yan public, hindi natin yan masabing public speaking kasi public speaking is an engagement between the speaker and the audience. Soft skills are interpersonal. If you can still remember your previous lesson, yung mga naka-encounter na po dito, yung mga, especially kayo pong mga pre-service, yung mga pre-service teachers natin, di ba, you have your subject na purposive communication or yung speech and oral communication wherein interpersonal communication is included in one of the different lessons, di ba? So when we see interpersonal communication or your interpersonal skills, that is the interaction or the communication that occur between two or more people and how you interact with other people. So same here in public speaking. That's why this is considered as part of interpersonal skill because you are interacting with other people such as your audience. These people are your audience. So public speakers make presentations to a group. Presentations could range from speaking to a small number of employees to presenting to a large audience at a national conference or event. The same skill set and ability to be comfortable speaking in public are required regardless of the size of the group. So I think most of you think that a public speaking needs a large audience, but that is a myth, diba? Hindi po yan ganyan ang public speaking because we can consider public speaking even if only your audience is only a small number of people. Kahit yan, halimbawa, conference lang sa school nyo or sa company where you are working. For example, meron ka lang mga 20 audience, 30 audience, tapos ikaw ang nagto-talk in front. So, that is considered as public speaking. But, of course, the most appropriate concept of public speaking is speaking in front of a large group. So, sabi nga ni Digdi, regardless of the size of the group. So, the bottom line or the key takeaway here is public speaking could be on a small number of people, speaking in front of a small number of people, or speaking in a large audience. Also, yung mga English major dyan, meron kayong subject, if I'm not mistaken, one of your major subjects is public speaking. May kasamang public speaking because that is very necessary sa mga would-be teachers. Also, even if those who are not would-be teachers, the skill on public speaking is also very important. Kasi nga, once na nag-work tayo, once na nagtrabaho na tayo, naging empleyado na tayo, there is always a possibility, there is always a chance that maybe we will become the speaker. Hindi pwedeng, ay, hindi man ako ang boss, hindi man ako ang manager, hindi man ako ang dean, kaya hindi man ako pwedeng magsalita dyan kasi hindi naman ako ang dean. No, that's not an excuse, di ba? Kasi anyone could become a public speaker. Pwede kang maging speaker. Hindi, regardless of your designation, of your position, depende po. Okay, so why employers value public speaking skills. So, eto, employers, your employers, isipin nyo yung mag-hire sa inyo sa trabaho, yung magiging boss nyo, yung magiging superior nyo. Why do you think that these employers, they value public speaking skills so much? Ako nung nag-apply ako dito sa school noon, nung in-interview ako, actually si Sir Uvas pa nun ang campus administrator. When he conducted the interview sa akin during my application in the school, one of the things na reiterate niya doon is kung kaya ko daw mag-teach ng large size na klase, tapos kung kaya ko daw makisabayan kasi nga college yung tuturuan ko. Kung meron daw akong communication skills. Sabi ko, of course, sir, meron po akong communication skills. Not only because I am a graduate of BS in English, but because I have practiced that skill because that is necessary for teaching. Pero sabi ko nga, hindi lang po yan kailangan ng mga teachers. Even other professions, manager ka ng restaurant, police ka. Ang police, syempre, nagtotalk din. Also, nagtotalk din sila in front of a large crowd, especially if you are assigned in a community relations department, diba? Magkakandak ka ng mga seminars. Ngayon kasi, at this time of pandemic, since we have the COVID-19 threat, so we do not conduct or we seldom conduct a face-to-face seminar. Pero nung wala pang pandemic, di ba, laging face-to-face ang mga seminar. Ngayon, the means of conducting a seminar is this webinar. Yeah, we call webinar. This is online. So, ito na po, why your employers value public speaking. The art of public speaking comes into play in many places. It's important not only in the delivery of, it's not important not only in the delivery of speeches and public talks, but also in professional presentations, training events, and motivational speaking. Consultants, training, managers, clergy, sales representatives, and teachers, for example, all have a reason at times to speak in front of others. Ito na, this is what I was talking about earlier because sabi ko, public speaking is not only intended for teachers. Almost all kind of professions need to have a sense of public speaking skill, di ba? Because at times, we are going to speak in front of others. For example, you are an HR coordinator, wherein you need to conduct different seminars and trainings to the incoming employees. So, ganon, ikaw ang magkakandak, ikaw ang magsasalita. Pag sinabi kasing public speaking, di ba, sabi nga ni, it could be on a small size of audience or it could also be on a big size of audience. So, kahit po simpleng ano lang yan, as long as you are speaking in public and in front of the audience, that is public speaking. Hindi po ibig sabihin ng public speaking na yung SONA, yun lang, or yung, for example, sa mga commencement exercises, yung mga speeches that is being delivered by the speakers, by the guest speaker, o kaya sa mga symposiums. Hindi lang po doon. The definition, the scope of public speaking is not only limited to that. So itong webinar na to, this is considered as public speaking. Pero the difference is, naka-online tayo, webinar, di ba? Pero presentation din pala. But of course, the formal speeches that are being delivered by speakers, and then they are still public speaking. Yan na yung SONA, yan, mga example yan ng ano. If we are going to look for that and the different levels of communication or the types of communication, those are called public communication. That is, same with public speaking, the communication between one and several other people. Yung one, that's the speaker, the several other people, they are the audience. So it's more on monologue rather than dialogue. Kasi pag sa public speaking, mostly, yung speaker keeps on speaking talaga. Nagsasalita po talaga yung speaker without the interruptions of the audience. The audience become listener. Pero it depends upon the audience if what type of listener they will be. Kung passive listener, kung active, kung critical, bahala na din sila. Pero, and also it depends upon the type of events that is being held to. Kung ano po yung type ng event, diba? Okay. A lackluster speaker can make a solid product or proposal seem less than enticing, while a polished speaker can add allure to an otherwise mediocre proposition. Okay. Then most professional level roles require some amount of public speaking. It's often necessary to carry out functions like presenting findings, pitching proposals, training staff, and leading meetings. So yun na yung sinabi ko, if you are the HR coordinator or HR officer, wherein you give different seminars and trainings to incoming employees, so you are training the staff. Also, sa mga meetings, sa mga ibang events, symposiums, ganon. So we have here the top public speaking skills. What are those? When you want to highlight your public speaking skills in your cover letter or resume, or during an interview, be sure to go beyond stating that you have public speaking skills. Go into detail about which aspect of public speaking skill you are good at and provide specific examples of your skills and expertise. Some of the most important skills for successful public speaking include the following. Okay, letter A, clear articulation. Of course, public speaker must be able to speak well. That includes enunciating, speaking loudly enough, and using proper grammar without a lot of verbal crutches such as It helps to be able to talk well in ordinary conversation, but public speaking is a kind of performance and as such requires practice and preparation. Pag sinabing clear articulation, this is the way a speaker speaks. Paano ka magsalita as a speaker? So that involves or that includes enunciating, speaking loudly enough, meaning there should be an enough volume of your voice on how you speak. It's not encouraged that you are going to speak very loud or very low. At the same time, you have to use proper grammar. It's not necessary that you will speak fluently without observing the grammar, diba? It's very important. Also, as a speaker, part of articulation is your diction, diba? When we say diction, it pertains to two definitions. It could be the proper choice of words or how you pronounce certain words, diba? So, in public speaking, the two concept of dictions are both included. Proper choice of words and, of course, the pronunciation, or that involves also the accent or stress. So yun na yung enunciation. For the proper choice of words, even if something comes to your mind that you think that's the word that you should use, you should think carefully if that word is the appropriate term that you are going to use when you speak. Another, you have to avoid using verbal crutches, yung mga But you know, to be honest, sometimes this is very unavoidable, especially if that becomes our mannerisms, di ba? When we are the speaker, especially if we are not very used to speaking, kung hindi naman tayo masyadong sanay, if we are not used to speaking in front of a group, so sometimes or most of the times the speaker says, tell me, even me, maybe you have observed that I also have that, diba? Also, other speakers, they also do that. But as much as possible, please avoid that. What else? It helps to be able to talk well in ordinary conversation, but public speaking is a kind of performance and as such requires practice and preparation. That's correct. You have to practice, you have to prepare so that you would be ready in once you face your audience, or you will avoid other technicalities. Memorization is not usually necessary because many people are able to speak in an unscripted way to some degree. However, you must be familiar enough with your material that you don't pause excessively, repeat yourself, or stumble over your words. There are speakers who memorize their speeches, diba? Or others, they read their speeches. But it's case-to-case basis and it depends upon the type of public speaking a speaker is involved. Kung halimbawa, if we observe, diba, or if we notice, or based from our experience, for example, the commencement exercises speaker, we notice that somehow there are speakers that they read their script or their speeches, diba? May binabasa sila. But others, they do not solely rely on reading of their speeches, diba? Yung iba, meron mga sinasabi din na hindi masyadong kasama doon sa speech nila. Kasi unscripted naman talaga. But still, they read their speech. And others, they also memorize it. Pwede naman, pero mas maganda if you are, as a speaker, you are not going to memorize your speech. You also need to be able to pace yourself so that you finish on time rather than early or late. So you have to estimate kung okay ba, masyado kang mabilis, kung ano, or baka naman you are going to finish very late. Masyado na. Imagine kung nag-speak ka dyan ng 3 hours. For example, you are the commencement exercises speaker. Then you have delivered your speech for 3 hours. So what will happen to your audience? Of course, they will get bored, especially na ganyan na wala man lang presentation. Kasi nga, commencement exercises, di ba, wala dyan slides na i-present sa speech or kung ano. Tapos yung pag-deliver mo pa, medyo bored. So what will happen? Your audience will lose their motivation and interest in listening to you. Okay, letter B, engaging presentation style. What are presentation skills? Presentation skills refer to all the qualities you need to create and deliver a clear and effective presentation. While what you say during a presentation matters, employers also value the ability to create supporting materials such as slides. Your prospective employer may want you to deliver briefings and reports to colleagues, conduct training sessions, present information to clients, or perform any number of other tasks that involve speaking before an audience. This is very common. This is very true because when we conduct trainings or seminars, materials are always needed. Ito na. What are these materials? This presentation is an example of these materials. Ito naman talaga ang most popular na ginagamit, di ba? Pag nagkakandak tayo ng public speaking. Kung sa mga seminars, mga training sessions, especially if you are going to talk about something, about a topic, so you should have your presentation in the name of slides or the PowerPoint presentations. Presentation skills includes vocal tone, body language, facial expression, and timing. So aside from the material that you are using during your public speaking, what included in the presentation skill are your vocal tone, yung tone mo sa voice mo, body language. Syempre, di ba, there are speakers na sometimes they have hand gestures, di ba, yung iba nga, they walk from one corner to another. May mga na-encounter po ako niyan sa mga seminar na, yung mga face-to-face seminar na yung speaker, if even though there is a lectern, lumalabas po sa lectern, sa podium, lumalabas siya, he or she goes to one corner to another, naglalakad-lakad. So maybe that's his or her style in speaking. Kasi pag mga symposium, mga seminars, consider naman po yan na informal event of public speaking. Hindi naman po yan kailang steady ka lang, na nakatayo lang. Pwede ka talagang maglakad-lakad. And that is also some of the speakers, they do that para to lessen the tension between the speaker and the audience. Para maging chill lang, kumbaga. Ganun ang ginagawa nila. Also, to prevent any boredom that may occur among the audience. Kaya ganun, naglalakad-lakad sila. Pero kung it depends upon the speaker, kung gusto naman na sa lectern lang, pwede naman. So, depende na yun sa style mo. Kaya nga, iba dito, the right style can make a talk that could have been boring become exciting and engaging. So, depende po yan sa inyo as a speaker. Sabi ko nga, you can stay in the lectern or you can walk, pero hindi naman yung nagbarababa ka na. Tapos may na-encounter pa pala ako based from the experience that I have. As bumababa talaga sa stage yung yung speaker ng seminar. Nung pumupunta siya sa kanya-kanyang corner ng audience, kasi maybe he would like the audience to be engaging in the discussion. That's a good style din. Strategy niya yon, di ba? Then your facial expression. Hindi pwedeng you only have one expression na seryoso ka lang. Hindi. So, depende naman, di ba? Kung may little humor, syempre, you have to show a chill vibe or, what do you call that? Kung may humor, you have to show the appropriate facial expression naman, na medyo masinggaya naman. Hindi pwedeng seryoso ka at ang nagjo-joke ka ta, yung face mo naman, yung facial expression mo naman, seryoso ka or garo ang both. So, it's very important. And of course, the timing. Number next, assessing the needs of the audience. So why do you think there is a need to assess the needs of your audience? Some audiences want a lot of technical detail. Others don't. Some will enjoy humor, others won't. There are jokes that work in some crowds, but not others. To draft a successful talk and to adopt the appropriate presentation style, you need to be able to assess the needs of your audience. So, as a speaker, you also need to consider your audience. Hindi pwedeng bias ka na, sarili mo lang ang iisipin mo. So, you need to address or to know the needs of your audience. May mga audience kasi na ayaw nila ng madaming jokes. Ang iba naman, enjoy pag nagjo-joke ang speaker. Ang iba naman, kahit nagjo-joke na ang speaker, for them, it's still boring. Diba? So, kung ang audience mo, for example, ang audience mo, mga katrabaho mo man lang, ikaw lang yung nabigyan ng task to present or to conduct a lecture. So there could also be a joke since your audience are your colleagues. But if your audience are those officials who are higher than you in position, so maybe there is a little tension. Although you can still have some humor as a speaker, pwede kang mag-joke, but still, depende din sa mode of delivery mo. Kasi iba din talaga. For example, your audience are say for example, teenagers, mga teens. So, you have to level your discussion doon sa audience mo. Kung mga elementary ang audience mo, pang elementary level din. Because that's the needs of your audience. Then, if your audience are those, for example, pardon my reference ha, pardon my example. Example lang to ha, I'm not being racist ha. Example lang to kasi I would like to put emphasis on how you are going to put your, or I would like to put emphasis on the kind of things or speech or things that you are going to give to your audience. So kung ang audience mo naman yung mga indigenous people na, di ba, alam naman natin ang mga indigenous people, di ba? Medyo compared sa atin, medyo kulang pa sila ng civilization. So i-level mo naman doon. Especially if those people are not degree holder. Hindi sila degree holder pero English ka ng English. So hindi kayo magkakaintindihan ng audience mo. So that's not the need of your audience. Ako naalala ko noon, pina-MC ako. Pina-MC ako. Yung audience ko noon, mga barangay officials, pero hindi naman lahat ng barangay official nakapagtapos, di ba? So I tried my best to speak using the vernacular dialect. Not Tagalog, pero yung inas talaga nila sa akin is mag-Bicol lang daw po ako. So I tried my best, although it's a little struggle on my part because my vernacular dialect is not Bicol Naga, it's Rinco Naga kasi I am from Iriga. So yun, kahit buro-bulang ko yung pag-Bicol ko, hindi maganda yung accent ko sa pag-Bicol, especially baguhan pa lang akong teacher noon. Nag-Bicol ako kasi yun ang gusto ng audience ko. Kasi daw, although from time to time, there were times that I forgot, makakapag-English din ako, tas nakakapag-Tagalog. Pero gusto talaga nila is Bicol Naga ang pag-talk ko doon. So, I tried my best because that's the need of the audience. Although MC lang ako, hindi man ako yung resource speaker, the flow of the program, Bicol yung ginamit ko. Okay, here is a tip. Before you begin speaking, think about your audience and what they hope to gain from your presentation that can help you assess their needs, which can help ensure that your presentation is the best possible use of your time and there. So yun na po ang gagawin nyo. Katulad po ng example na sinabi ko sa inyo. Okay, letter D, PowerPoint skills. PowerPoint is a popular software used for creating slides. Not all public speakers use them, but slides are so common that doing without them is sometimes called speaking naked. Yung PowerPoint kasi, parang akong nagkakalas sa inyo eh. Yung PowerPoint that as a tool used mostly not only for public speaking, but also for teaching and other kinds of presentation. And it will guide the speaker on the flow of the event. Kasunod-sunod. Kasi minsan, di ba, because we are just human, nakakalimutan natin yung pasunod-sunod. Ako, example na ang sarili ko. May time na in the middle of my speaking, bigla akong nami-mental block. So this slide, this PowerPoint presentation is very helpful. So one of the things that you need to consider, one of the tips for public speaking is your PowerPoint skills. Of course, You need to learn how to make PowerPoint, how to present your slides. Pero kaya nga ni kaibanan, kasama naman ata yan sa mga ano nyo, sa curriculum, sa computer, diba? It's not only important to understand the technical aspect of using the software, it is also helps if you have the artistic ability to create slides that are aesthetically pleasing and easy to understand, or you should work with a collaborator who can do so. Either way, you must know how to integrate your slides smoothly into the other aspects of your presentations. So, ang iba, you can ask those people who are knowledgeable to information technology for a help. If you are not very sure, if you possess a little or a poor PowerPoint skill, kung di masyadong ganun ang skill mo, pwede ka pong magpatulong sa iba, sa knowledgeable sa PowerPoint. Dito baga sa atin sa school, nagpapatulong kami kay Sir Vince, sa mga information technology faculty, pag yung mga technical na talagang related sa computer na hindi na basic, nagpapatulong po kami sa kanila. Then, composition skills. Whether you prepare your talk ahead of time or just go with the flow, you must be able to construct talks that are rational, coherent, and easy to understand and that cover all points you want to hit. So pag speaker ka, please see to it that you have this composition skill that involves the smooth flow, the chronological flow, pagkasunod-sunod. It should be rational, coherent. Pag coherent, ayos yung pagkasunod-sunod. Hindi pwedeng, eto sinabi mo ngayon, tapos wala na naman, babalikan mo. Yung kumbaga, buro-balango. Dapat smooth flow lang. Because that would help you to cover all your points that you want to discuss. Storytelling and humor help, and you must know how to use them. Public speaking is not only a form of performance art, it also requires other public speaking skills. So, ano pa? So, it also requires other public speaking skills such as controlling performance anxiety. So, this is kind of personal. If you are not used to public speaking, if you are not used to speaking in front of a crowd, you could develop anxiety when you are told to speak in front of the crowd. Whether we admit it or not, naranasan natin ito, di ba? Na kapag inask tayong magsalita in front of the crowd, ninenervyos na tayo. So that's a certain kind of anxiety. That is called stage fright. Di ba? Yung natatakot. Ako I admit, even though I am an English major teacher, may mga times that I also have anxiety when speaking in front of the crowd. Tapos, nagkakaroon ako ng panic attack minsan or stage fright. But not all the time naman kasi it's a matter of mindset. Halimbawa, I was informed that I am going to speak in front of the people ahead of time. So, nama-mindset ko na yan na ipiprepare ko na talaga yung mind ko na ganito, itong day na to, magtotalk ako in front. Pero kapag biglaan, depende din, may time, ninervyusin, may time, relax naman. So, eto yon. You have to control your anxiety. Kailangan mo yun i-master. Number 2, drafting an evaluation form that attendees are likely to complete. Ito yung evaluation form. Ano ba yung pwedeng maging evaluation sa'yo ng mga attendees or ng audience mo? Okay ba yung pag-speak mo? Were you a good speaker or not? So, pwede yon so that if you think that you are, for example, you are mispronouncing words. So that could be the point that you are going to look into when you are speaking. Because, of course, your attendees will notice that. Mapapansin po yan ng attendees mo. Number 3, grabbing the attention of the audience with a powerful opening. Ito, there are speakers who begin their speech with a joke or quotation. So, technique nila yon or strategy nila yon. Yung iba, magjo-joke muna. Yung iba, mga quotation ang gagawin na pambungad sa pagsalita. Yung iba naman, sharing previous experiences. Ganun po ang mga strategy nila. So, depends. Number 4, handing out copies of slides in advance to minimize note-taking demands on the audience. So, kung you are a resource speaker in a seminar, especially for face-to-face seminar, you can give your handouts, copies of your handouts in advance. Hindi ako nagbigay sa inyo kasi hindi naman ata required magbigay ng handouts. Tapos, since online, hindi ko naman kayo mamimit personally, di ba? Kaya, paano ko naman mabibigay yung copy nitong handouts, di ba? Pero, we are required to give handouts dun kila Sir Darrell. Number 5, maintaining eye contact with the audience in providing an energetic, animated physical presence. So, eye-to-eye contact is important. Pero, please avoid eye-to-eye contact that is intimidating. Diba? Baka eye-to-eye contact ka sa audience mo, pero you may seem angry and it could be misinterpreted by your audience. Baka ma-misinterpret po yan ng audience mo at yan kaya naanggot na sa'yo. Ako na lang yung pagpaparahiling kaya kang speaker. Si paghiling patingin sa kuya, matalim yung pagtingin sa akin. So, in eye-to-eye contacts, for example, yung audience mo is a crowd, you have to look on the left, the right, and center. Diyan ka mag-eye-to-eye contact sa audience mo. Hindi pwedeng permi lang sa center, hindi rin pwedeng lagi lang sa gilid, sa right or sa left. It should be balanced. Left, center, right, and vice versa. Papalit-palitin mo po yan. Tapos, yun na, hindi pwede, you are not allowed to have an eye-to-eye contact to only a certain audience. Isa lang na tao. Iba-ibahin mo naman dito sa unahan, sa likod, ganyan, sa gilid, sa gitna. So lahat sila so that we can see that is you are having an eye-to-eye contact. Then, of course, energetic. Pero siguro this one, sometimes, ang iba, other speakers are not energetic because sometimes their personality is not really that kind. I have encountered some speakers that they are like passive when they are speaking. Passive lang sila, even the facial expressions, hindi po nag-iiba-iba. Maybe that is part of their personality. You know, we individuals, we are different from one another. We cannot blame them naman. Tapos, halimbawa, hindi naman talaga sila public speaker palagi. So, they do not enhance their skill, especially on being energetic. Meron naman sobrang energetic na annoying na, di ba? So, dapat swak lang, balance, sense of balance. Hindi pwede yung masyado ka ng energetic na naiinis na sa'yo ang audience mo, hindi man pwede na masyado kang passive. Then, animated physical presence. So, that involves your body gesture. Imagine, you are speaking, you are just standing there. Kung ano yung position ng kamay mo, yun lang. Hindi ka man lang nag-body gesture, hindi ka man lang nag-hand gesture. So, wala. Parang you are not existing. Naririnig lang nila yung voice mo, but you are not moving. So, that's what you mean by animated physical presence. You need to have a little movement. And ito pa, number 6, memorizing enough content so that the speech does not come off as a reading of notes. So, yun na. Sabi ba kanina, avoid memorizing, but you can memorize. Because it's very obvious if your speech is memorized. It's also not good if you are just reading your entire speech. So from time to time, you should memorize some parts of your speech. Yung content, some content of your speech. Hindi pwedeng lahat babasahin mo, hindi rin pwede na i-memorize mo na yan lahat na para ka ng diretso ka nang nagsalita. Wala ka ng junctures and speaking. Number 7, modulating vocal tone to emphasize important points and avoid monotonous presentation. So if you think that a particular topic is important and should be emphasized or put emphasis, so you need to change the tone. Pwede mong lakasan yung boses mo kasi you are putting emphasis on that particular topic. Ganun naman baga talaga kapag nag-i-speech, kapag nagto-talk. Number 8, organizing a logical flow to a speech. Yan, logical. It should be logical. Pasunod-sunod. Pag sinabing logical flow, the proper flow, the proper order of the parts of your speech. Hindi pwedeng magkukonclude ka na agad. Beginning pa lang ng speech mo, magkukonclude ka na agad. Diba? So of course, if that is just the beginning of your speech, it could be an introduction. Tapos, on the discussion proper, on the body, then at the end, you are going to conclude. Kaya nag-conclude ka, tapos saka ka nagbigay ng introduction. That's not correct. Number 9, preparing examples that are relevant to the experience of the expected audience. Preparing examples. So you can give examples that is relevant to the experience of your audience. Hindi pwedeng magbibigay ka. It's not advisable that you are going to give an example wherein your audience cannot relate. So that is irrelevant. Halimbawa, yung audience mo yan na, kayo, pre-service teacher. Sige, ang tao ko ng example na hindi man related sa inyo or hindi man kayo makaka-relate. So that is pointless. Maboboard lang ang audience nyo dyan. Number 10, providing compelling evidence to support themes. So, ito mga evidence na to, these evidences, when you say themes, yung concept or topic of your discussion. So what are these evidences? These are the examples could be based from your experiences or based from the facts. Bawa sa atin, sa COVID-19. So if the topic is about COVID-19, so you can mention different examples that have really happened on the COVID-19 threat. Yung vaccinations, yung mga nangyayari talaga kasi these are considered as supporting evidences of your themes. And number 11, rehearsing the presentation and revising rough spots. So what do you mean by rehearsing the presentation? You practice, pwede mong basahin yan, magtaram ka, magsalita ka muna, nagre-rehearse kung paano mo siya i-deliver, kung paano mo siya i-present. And if you notice that there are things need to be improved, so yun na, yung mga rough spots, you need to improve that. And the last one, number 12, researching information about the latest trends in an industry before presenting at a professional seminar. So if you are asked to be the resource speaker and you are asked to discuss a relevant topic or a topic that is relevant to the present society, so you can research information. An example ko na naman nga yung COVID. Of course, you can research information about COVID, like the number of those people who are already vaccinated, the number of cases, yon. Because these are all relevant information of the latest trends. Tapos ano ba, saan bang mga place ang may ECQ, GCQ. So, yon ang mga relevant information sa latest trends natin kung sa COVID. And that also true to the other themes or other topics. Okay, how to showcase your skills. Public speaking is a skill in itself, but it is also a collection of skills. Lists like this can help you name some of these skills. You can identify which jobs require the abilities you have. Okay, eto na. So, paano mo daw mapapakita yung skill mo, especially as far as employment or workplace is concerned? So, how you are going to showcase your skill? The first one is mention skills in your resume and cover letter. Diba if you are in a resume, if you have your resume, you stress out your qualifications and skills. So, dun mo yan ilalagay. What are your skills there? Please do not say, kasi very obsolete na to eh. Noon, ito lagi ang sinasabi, computer literate. Do not just say, para marunong ka sa Microsoft Word, ilalagay mo na computer literate. So, please emphasize it. What particular skill you have in relation to computer skill, di ba? Then, yun, kung matibay ka sa public speaking, you can mention that in your resume or in your cover letter. But take note take note. Diba sabi ko kanina in our morning discussion, your cover letter or your job application letter comes with your resume. So if you have put your skills, your different skills in your resume, there is no need to mention that in your cover letter. So, isa lang po ang pipiliin nyo. Kasi that is too much. Masusuya na kayan ang magbabasang employer nyo na ulit-ulit kang magme-mention dyan ng skill. Because your cover letter should be precise, concise, and direct to the point. Even your educational qualification, educational background, since nandun na po yan sa resume, hindi na po yan kailangang i-mention sa cover letter. Madaming ganyan pa din na nagme-mention na I graduated Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English in Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, parang ganun. So, if you have already put that, kasi it's needed in a resume that you put your educational background. So, there's no need for that to include in your cover letter, in the body of your cover letter. So, ito na, mention skills. When you apply, you can use these skills as keywords on your resume or other application materials. Key points yan sa inyo pag nag-apply kayo. Halimbawa, yun na, nag-apply kang HR coordinator or HR officer. So, key points yan if you put that you have an excellent public speaking skill. Kasi kailangan talaga yan as an HR officer. Okay, here is another tip. Be sure to read job descriptions carefully. Even very similar positions can have different requirements depending on what the hiring manager is looking for. So you have also to pay attention to the job description that you are applying to. Kasi baka nagparakaag ka dyan ng skill, tapos irrelevant man ang skill sa ina-applyan mo. Or halimbawa, nag-apply ka ng skill na hindi man, ng trabaho na hindi naman kailangang laging magsalita. So, putting public speaking skill is kind of irrelevant. Hindi na masyadong kailangan. Next, share your skills during a job interview. Yes. Mostly, your employer always asks the question, what are your unique skills? Yon. Be prepared to give examples of specific times when you embodied these skills because your interviewer is likely to ask. If you've made public presentations or internal company presentation, share the details with the interviewer. For example, you land or you applied to another company because you have finished your contract or you have resigned from your previous company. So if you experience, or if you have an experience of different public presentations, so you can mention that during your job interview. Plus points pa rin yan sa inyo sa job interview, because you are showcasing your public speaking skill. Next, how to improve your public speaking skills. Whether you feel like a public speaking expert or you are new to it, there are always ways you can improve. You can brush up on your public speaking skills with these tips. Okay, ito na po yung mga tips. Number 1, take a public speaking class or workshop. Ito kasi sa atin class, especially here in the province, this is not very common to us, di ba? Wala naman sa atin nag-enroll talaga sa public speaking classes. Mostly, we only learned this one from the curriculum and the school where we are enrolled and as part of the degree that we have, di ba? So, dyan na tayo natututo. Pero, there are also private sectors, private schools, not actually university, but it could be only focusing on a certain English proficiency classes. So, you can enroll there. Dati noon ata sa Naga meron yung sa English proficiency classes. Kasi yung dito baga may call center yung Sutherland. So, yung iba po, pag nag-apply daw, kasi yung pinsan ko nag-apply sa Sutherland noon. So, noon, nag-apply siya sa Sutherland. There was a little improvement on his English proficiency skill. Kasi nga, yung natapos naman nun is political science. Pero nag-try siyang mag-call center. So, ni-refer siya to enroll in an English proficiency classes sa may BMC ata yun sa Naga. So, yun. Tapos, that is just a sort of training, like 40 hours ata. So, yun, that's parts. If possible, you can do this. Kung kaya nyo man lang, take a public speaking class or workshop. Number 2, practice in front of the mirror. Yes, you have to practice in front of the mirror because you will see yourself speaking. Kung ano yung makikita ng audience mo, what your audience will see, you will also see that when you practice speaking in front of the mirror. Kung paano ba pag-articulate mo, what's the shape of your mouth, is it, nun sa speech namin, kung round or yung smiling, yung parang ganun, depende. So, then also, your facial expression. When you practice in front of the mirror, you will notice your facial expression. Kung masyadong tense or lax. Pag sinabing tense natin, masyadong seryoso. Pag sinabi naman natin na lax, yung relax lang, chill lang, di ba? Okay, number 3, practice in front of friends, family, or colleagues, then ask for feedback. Nung college ako, since I was very curious talaga noon, lagi akong nagpa-practice in front of my friends and my sister. Tapos naghahagad akong feedback. Pero ngayon, hindi na ako masyadong conscious about that. Kasi tumatanda na din. So, yun na. So, kayo, you can do that. You can practice in front of friends. And of course, you have to ask for honest feedback. Hindi pwedeng friends mo sasabihin, ay, matibayon ka na. Kasi nga, friends mo. So, honest feedback dapat. Nalingawan kong laagan ng honest feedback. Number 4, record yourself giving a presentation, watch the video, and take notes. Ako, to be honest, even at this stage, minsan nagtatry ako mag-record sa cellphone ko kasi gusto ko marinig yung sarili ko kung ano yung tone ko, kung ano yung itsura ko kapag yung magkaklase lang ako dito sa online. But it's just for the purpose of not very serious kasi I am not putting I don't want to put a struggle on myself na very conscious ako kung ano ang sasabihin sa akin, kung sasabihin ng audience ko na pangit akong magsalita or ano, ayoko na yan i-stress ang sarili ko dyan. But sometimes, I also record myself kung gusto ko talagang marinig. Naku-curious lang kaya ako kasi iba ang Iba yung maririnig ng audience mo sa maririnig mo when you are speaking. Sometimes you do not notice yourself committing errors, but your audience will notice that. Or sometimes you notice yourself committing errors, but your audience do not notice that. Number 5, watch videos of accomplished public speakers you admire. So sa YouTube natin, madami sa YouTube. You can watch different public speakers there. May mga nag-upload dyan. Iba-iba. Okay? Tapos na pala. So that would be all for my discussion this afternoon. Thank you very much for your time in listening.
As a token of our appreciation for your time, it is my pleasure to present to you the Certificate of Commendation awarded to Ma'am Apple Jane Tagum. Allow me first to read the certificate. Citation reads, Certificate of Commendation is hereby awarded to Apple Jane Tagum for sharing her knowledge and expertise as the resource speaker during the event entitled Duungaw for ALS Learners, In-Service and Pre-Service Teachers, a webinar series. With the theme Speech 101, the rudiments of speech communication in the workplace and writing business correspondence, held virtually via Zoom meeting on November 12, 2021 at Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, Sipocot, Impig, Sipocot, Camarines Sur. Given this 12th day of November 2021 at Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, Sipocot, Impig, Sipocot, Camarines Sur. Signed by Zeus M. Lusitano, Campus Administrator. Let us give Ma'am Apple Jane Tagum a virtual applause. Okay, before we end this webinar, may I request to our participants to please open their camera for the photo opportunity. To our participants and resource speaker in this webinar series, our sincere thanks to all. We could not have done this successfully without all of your spares, without of you who spared some time from your busy schedule to join us today. We hope that this webinar series enables you to ignite more your passion in teaching despite of the alteration in the learning modality.